Hello guys, welcome to Saiyan What Ifs. So in this video, we will see, what if Goku achieved Super Saiyan 5 early? If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1. The Silver Ascension. The mountains trembled beneath Goku's fists. Each impact sent fracture spider webbing through granite that had stood undisturbed for millennia. Sweat dripped from his forehead, each droplet catching the first light of dawn before splattering against the dust. He'd been training since midnight, driving his body far beyond normal limits. 300 times. Earth's gravity, courtesy of Bulma's latest portable generator, pressed down on his muscles as he executed a flawless sequence of kicks and punches. The air around him shimmered with golden energy, his Super Saiyan form radiating power that scorched the surrounding vegetation. 2998, 2999. Goku's voice emerged as a strained whisper. 3000. He collapsed onto one knee, breathing heavily. The golden aura flickered and vanished as his hair returned to its natural black. For 17 hours straight, he'd pushed himself without food or rest. Even for a Saiyan, this was extreme. Reaching into the small pack beside the gravity generator, Goku retrieved a water bottle and drained it in one long pull. The eastern sky had begun to blush with purple and orange hues, painting the desolate training ground in otherworldly light. This remote plateau, hundreds of miles from any human settlement, had become his sanctuary. In the months since Chi-Chi's passing, I should head back, he murmured to himself. Gohan will be waking up soon. The thought of his son sent a complex wave of emotions through Goku's chest. Pride in the boy's strength and intelligence. Guilt at his own frequent absences. Fear that he wasn't providing the stability Gohan needed. And beneath it all, a deep, persistent ache that surfaced when he remembered Gohan had no mother to return to. Goku pressed his fingers to his forehead, focusing on the distant energy signature of Piccolo, who had agreed to watch over Gohan during this training session. Before teleporting, he cast one last glance at the devastated training ground. Shattered boulders, smoldering craters, and trees stripped bare of leaves stood testament to his efforts. Yet it still wasn't enough. The instant transmission technique whisked him across the continent in less than a heartbeat. He materialized beside Piccolo, who sat cross-legged in meditation outside the modest mountain home Goku had built years ago with Chi-Chi. "You're pushing too hard," Piccolo stated without opening his eyes. "Even Saiyans have limits." Goku rolled his shoulders, feeling the deep fatigue in his muscles. "The androids won't care about limits, Piccolo. The boy needs his father alive, not burned out." The Namekian stood in one fluid motion, his cape billowing slightly in the morning breeze. "He asked about you 3 times yesterday." Guilt twisted in Goku's stomach. How is he? Studying, training, missing his mother. Piccolo's expression softened marginally, an almost imperceptible change that only those who knew him well would notice. "He's strong, Goku, but he's still a child." Inside the small house, Goku found Gohan asleep at his desk, head resting on an open textbook. Equations filled the notebook beside him, advanced physics concepts far beyond what most adults could comprehend. At 11 years old, Gohan's intellectual abilities sometimes made Goku forget how young he truly was. Gently, he lifted his son and carried him to bed. Gohan stirred briefly, eyes opening to reveal a momentary flash of disappointment before recognition set in. "Dad," he mumbled sleepily. "You're back." "Yeah, buddy, I'm back." Goku smoothed Gohan's wild hair, so similar to his own. "Get some rest. We'll train together after breakfast, okay?" A tired smile spread across Gohan's face as his eyes drifted closed again. "Promise, promise." As Gohan fell back asleep, Goku lingered, studying his son's peaceful face. The boy had his mother's gentleness, her intelligence, her compassion. What had Goku given him besides a legacy of battle and impossible burdens? The kitchen still bore Chi-Chi's influence, meticulously organized, spotlessly clean. Goku had maintained it exactly as she left it, as though preserving the space might somehow keep part of her alive. Her favorite teacup remained on the shelf where she'd placed it 6 months ago, the morning before she first collapsed. The illness had come suddenly. One day Chi-Chi was scolding him about tracking mud into the house. The next, she was bedridden with a fever that made her skin burn to the touch. Within 3 weeks, despite every doctor on Earth and even Korin's most potent healing herbs, she was gone. No Dragon Balls could bring her back. She'd died of natural causes, Shenron had explained with what almost seemed like regret. Such deaths were beyond even his power to reverse. Goku prepared a simple breakfast for Gohan, not with Chi-Chi's skill, but with increasing competence. As rice steamed and fish grilled, he sensed Piccolo departing. The Namekian's energy signature moving rapidly away. He'd been a surprising source of support these past months, especially with Gohan. The morning passed in domestic simplicity. Breakfast, dishes, checking Gohan's studies. Their training session was light by Saiyan standards, sparring at normal gravity, focusing on technique rather than power. For 2 hours, Goku forced himself to be fully present, to be the father Gohan needed. But as noon approached, a strange sensation prickled at the base of Goku's skull. Something felt off. Not dangerous, necessarily, but different. The air carried an unusual charge, like the moments before lightning strikes. Dad. Gohan paused mid-punch, noticing his father's distraction. What is it? Not sure. Goku scanned the horizon, then the sky. Nothing visible seemed amiss, yet the sensation intensified. Maybe we should. The ground beneath them shuddered. Not violently, but with a deep, resonant vibration. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. Birds erupted from distant trees, filling the air with panicked cries. An earthquake, Gohan suggested, moving instinctively into a defensive stance. Goku shook his head. This isn't natural. He closed his eyes, extending his senses beyond normal perception. It's energy, but not like anything I've felt before. The vibration subsided, leaving an eerie stillness in its wake. Seconds passed in tense silence before Goku's communicator, another of Bulma's creations, chirped urgently. Goku. Bulma's voice crackled through the small device. Are you feeling this? Yeah. What's happening? I don't know, but our instruments are going crazy. Some kind of energy pattern is spreading across the planet. Wait, let me check something. The line went silent for several seconds. Goku. The epicenter of this phenomenon is about 200 miles north of your position. In the Crystal Mountains. The Crystal Mountains. Gohan piped up. Isn't that where those ruins were discovered last year? The ones no one could identify. Another vibration rolled through the earth, stronger this time. In the distance, a flock of pterodactyls screeched as they fled from the northern horizon. I'm going to check it out, Goku decided. Gohan, I want you to go to Capsule Corporation. Stay with Bulma until I get back. But Dad, no arguments. Goku placed his hands on Gohan's shoulders. Meeting his son's eyes. I don't know what this is, but until I do, I need you somewhere safe. Understand? Reluctantly, Gohan nodded. Be careful, Dad, I always am. Goku forced a cheerful grin that didn't quite reach his eyes. It's probably nothing serious, maybe just some new creature hatching or something. But as he took to the sky, accelerating north, armed with a burst of ki that left a contrail in his wake, Goku couldn't shake the feeling that what awaited him was far more significant than a mere creature. The strange energy signature grew stronger as he approached the Crystal Mountains. A vast range named for the unusual formations that caught and refracted sunlight like massive prisms. The ruins came into view as he crested a particularly tall peak. Ancient stonework partially embedded in the mountainside, geometric patterns carved into surfaces that had somehow resisted millennia of erosion. Archaeological teams had been baffled by the sight, unable to connect it to any known Earth civilization. Now, the ruins glowed. Soft blue light pulsed from within the stone itself, illuminating symbols that hadn't been visible before. As Goku descended cautiously, he noticed that certain patterns in the stonework matched configurations he'd seen in his travels through space, during his journey to Namek, and in the architecture of other worlds. These aren't Earth ruins, he murmured, landing at the entrance to what appeared to be a temple or palace. There, Saiyan. The notion seemed impossible. Saiyans had never visited Earth before Raditz arrived years ago. Yet the geometric patterns, the proportions of the doorways, even the material of the stone itself resonated with some deep, instinctive recognition. Inside, the blue glow intensified. The temple's main chamber was a perfect circle, its domed ceiling pierced by precisely positioned apertures that currently aligned with celestial bodies invisible in the daytime sky. At T, H's center stood a circular platform raised slightly above the floor, covered in spiraling inscriptions. The platform trembled, and blue energy arced across its surface as Goku approached. "I wouldn't touch that if I were you." The voice, feminine yet commanding, came from behind him. Goku spun to find a woman standing in the shadows of the chamber's entrance. She stepped forward, and the blue eye. She revealed features that sent a shock of recognition through him. She was Saiyan, unmistakably so. Wild black hair framed a face that combined harshness and beauty in equal measure. Her eyes held the distinctive sharpness he recognized from Vegeta, from glimpsing his own reflection in battle. But most telling was the tail wrapped securely around her waist. A true Saiyan tail, brown and furred, the mark of their race. She wore armor similar to what Vegeta had first arrived in, but modified with materials Goku didn't recognize. Scars marked her exposed arms and one crossed her left cheek, badges of survival and combat. "You're Saiyan," Goku stated, unable to keep the disbelief from his voice. "And you're Kakarot." She circled him slowly, evaluating. "You match the description. Though you're not currently in the form that triggered the beacon." "Beacon? How do you know my Saiyan name? Who are you?" The woman stopped her evaluation, standing proudly with arms crossed. "I am Solaria, Light Scout of the 7th Saiyan Expeditionary Force. Or I was, before our planet's destruction." Her eyes narrowed. "I've been monitoring this system since detecting a Super Saiyan energy signature years ago. But recently, something else. Something that shouldn't be possible." Before Goku could respond, another tremor shook the temple, this one violent enough to dislodge dust and small stones from the ceiling. The blue glow intensified dramatically, and the platform in the center began to rotate slowly. "It's accelerating," Solaria muttered, more to herself than to Goku. "The celestial alignment is reaching its apex." "What is this place?" Goku demanded, raising his voice over the growing rumble. "What's happening?" "This is an ancient Saiyan observation post, established thousands of years ago when our people first developed interstellar travel. They seeded these stations throughout promising galaxies." She approached the platform cautiously, studying the symbols. "This station was designed to monitor cosmic energy patterns across this sector of the universe. But why is it activating now?" Solaria's expression became grave. "Because something unprecedented is occurring. A convergence of energies that happens once in a million years." She pointed to certain symbols on the platform. "These inscriptions speak of a legendary transformation beyond Super Saiyan, a form so powerful it could reshape reality itself." The rumbling intensified. Outside, the sky had darkened unnaturally, clouds swirling in patterns that defied meteorological explanation. "We need to leave," Goku insisted, sensing growing danger. "Whatever's happening is precisely why I came," interrupted another voice, ethereal and resonant. Both Saiyans turned toward a corner of the chamber where space itself seemed to bend and fold. From this distortion emerged a being unlike any Goku had encountered. Humanoid in general shape, but with skin that shimmered like opalescent water. Hair that floated as if underwater. Despite the absence of liquid, shifted between shades of blue and white. Eyes like distant galaxies regarded them with ancient intelligence. "I am Lumina," the being said, her voice carrying harmonic undertones that seemed to resonate with the blue energy suffusing the chamber. "Guardian of the cosmic confluence. And you, Son Goku, have drawn my attention across 12 galaxies." "Me, why?" "Because you stand at the precipice of transformation." Lumina glided forward, her movements unnaturally fluid. "Your power fluctuations have created ripples in the cosmic energy patterns I monitor. Ripples that suggest imminent ascension to a form that, according to all universal constants, should not be possible for another millennium." Another violent tremor rocked the temple. A fissure opened in one wall, revealing a sky now completely transformed. Unnatural auroras twisted overhead, and stars were visible despite the daylight hour, but in configurations Goku didn't recognize. "The veil between dimensions thins," Lumina observed with clinical detachment. "The convergence weakens universal boundaries." In plain language, Solaria demanded, "What happens next?" Lumina's galaxy eyes fixed on Goku. He transforms or the backlash of cosmic energy destroys this solar system. The simple pronouncement hit Goku like a physical blow. Transforms. Into what? I've already reached Super Saiyan. Beyond that, Solaria interjected, excitement bleeding through her controlled exterior. The legends speak of ascending forms. Super Saiyan was only the first. Correct, Lumina confirmed. What you understand as Super Saiyan is merely the first doorway. The ancient Saiyans documented theoretical transformations beyond, forms they believed would manifest over millennia of evolution. A new energy signature suddenly flared nearby, familiar, powerful, and radiating agitation. Moments later, Vegeta burst through the temple entrance, his face contorted with a mixture of rage and disbelief. Kakarot, he snarled. What have you done? The energy disturbances. He stopped short, noticing the other occupants of the chamber. His eyes widened at the sight of Solaria. Another Saiyan, Prince Vegeta. Solaria acknowledged with a formal salute that seemed to momentarily stun the Saiyan prince. Explanations later, Goku interrupted as the temple shook more violently. Lumina says I need to transform to something beyond Super Saiyan or the planet's in danger. Vegeta's expression darkened further. Beyond Super Saiyan? That's absurd. You barely mastered the first transformation, and now you claim. He doesn't claim anything, Lumina interjected calmly. The universe does. Observe. She gestured toward the central platform, which now rotated rapidly. The blue energy coalesced into a projection above it, a holographic display showing what appeared to be a map of energy currents flowing through space. Multiple streams converged at a single point, which corresponded precisely to their location. The cosmic confluence occurs once every million years, Lumina explained. When it does, dimensional barriers weaken, allowing evolutionary leaps that would otherwise take thousands of generations of natural selection. And Kakarot is just fortunate enough to be in the right place. Vegeta scoffed. No, Lumina replied evenly. He has been unconsciously drawing this energy to himself for months. His power, combined with his emotional state, has created a beacon that altered the confluence's path. The mention of his emotional state struck Goku like a physical blow. Chi-Chi, he whispered. Since she died, your grief has been reshaping your energy signature, Lumina confirmed, her voice softening slightly. Loss can be a powerful catalyst. Another tremor, more violent than any before, sent cracks racing through the temple walls. Outside, the unnatural auroras intensified, casting prismatic shadows across the chamber. It's beginning, Solaria warned, backing toward the exit. The dimensional overlap. Goku. Lumina moved closer, her otherworldly eyes fixing him with urgent intensity. You must surrender to the transformation. Your body has been preparing for this. But your mind resists. How? How do I transform to something I don't understand? The same way you first became Super Saiyan, she replied. Through need, not understanding. The cosmic map projected above the platform flared brightly as the streams of energy accelerated their convergence. The temple's structure began to fail, massive stones dislodging from the ceiling. We need to get outside, Vegeta commanded, grabbing Solaria's arm and pulling her toward the exit. This structure won't last. They emerged into a landscape transformed. The sky had become a riot of impossible colors, with multiple aurora-like formations spiraling inward toward the temple. The air itself felt charged, crackling with potential energy. In the distance, mountains floated weightlessly, defying gravity. The laws of physics are breaking down in this localized area, Lumina observed as she glided from the temple. Reality becomes malleable during the confluence. Goku stood at the center of the maelstrom, feeling energy currents pulling at him from all directions. Power unlike anything he'd experienced before surged through his cells, simultaneously exhilarating and agonizing. His Super Saiyan transformation triggered automatically, golden aura flaring around him. It's not enough, he gasped, feeling the energy threatening to tear him apart. I can't contain this. Don't try to contain it, Lumina instructed. Channel it, direct it. The transformation seeks completion. Vegeta watched with naked envy and fascination. Kakarot, if you die from this, I'll never forgive you. Thanks for the encouragement, Goku managed through gritted teeth. The ground beneath him cracked and cratered as his power continued to rise. The golden Super Saiyan aura flickered erratically, occasionally showing flashes of deeper colors, electric blue, violent crimson, even glimpses of silver. It's not working, Solaria observed tensely. His current form can't channel enough of the confluence. Because he's fighting it, Lumina replied. Son Goku, you must surrender to the transformation completely. I'm trying, Goku shouted, his voice distorted by power. But he wasn't. Not truly. Some part of him held back, resisting the unknown transformation. Fear, not of the power itself, but of what he might become. Would he still be himself? Would he still care for those he loved? Would he still be Gohan's father? Chi-Chi's face flashed in his mind. Her final moments, weak yet still concerned for him and Gohan. Her hand clutching his. Her last words. Promise me you'll keep going. Something broke inside Goku, a final barrier of resistance. For you, he whispered. For Gohan. For everyone I've failed to protect. He released his hold on the familiar Super Saiyan form, allowing the confluence energy to flow through him unimpeded. Pain lanced through every cell as his body began a transformation far more profound than any previous evolution. His golden aura imploded, collapsing inward before explosively rebirthing as something new, a silver-blue energy field containing miniature galaxy-like patterns. His hair lengthened dramatically, the color bleaching from gold to platinum to pure silver-white. Crystalline fur of the same hue sprouted across his upper body, shimmering with its own inner light. The transformation radiated outward in a shockwave that stabilized the fractured reality around them. Dimensional rifts sealed themselves. Mountains returned to their proper positions. The sky, while still auroral, no longer threatened to tear apart. When the light subsided, Goku stood transformed beyond recognition. His eyes, now a piercing azure with gold pupils, surveyed his companions. Each breath he took seemed to create subtle ripples in the air itself. The silver white fur covering his torso caught the light in ways that defied normal optics, sometimes appearing solid, sometimes transparent. Impossible, Vegeta breathed, for once stunned beyond anger. Solaria dropped to one knee. An instinctive gesture of reverence. The silver ascendant, she murmured. Just as the ancient texts described. Lumina's expression combined satisfaction and concern. Super Saiyan 5, she named it. A form that should not exist in this timeline for another 1,000 years. Goku examined his transformed body with wonder. Every sensation was heightened to an incredible degree. He could feel the energy signatures of every living thing for hundreds of miles. He could sense the subtle currents of the planet's magnetic field. He could even perceive the slow rotation of the Earth itself. More significantly, he could feel connections between all things. Invisible threads of energy binding the universe together in patterns of breathtaking complexity. This power, he began, his voice carrying harmonic overtones similar to Lumina's. It's not just physical. No, Lumina agreed. The fifth transformation transcends normal dimensions. You now exist partially in realms beyond conventional space-time. Goku experimentally lifted his hand. With the smallest exertion of will, he created a sphere of energy unlike any he'd generated before, a miniature cosmos containing swirling galaxies and nascent stars. Vegeta's face contorted with complex emotions, awe, envy, determination. How? He demanded. How do I achieve this form? You don't, Lumina stated simply. Not now. This transformation was only possible because of the confluence and Goku's unique circumstances. Unique circumstances? Solaria questioned. His grief, Lumina explained. His loss, his unrestrained emotional state created resonance patterns that attracted the confluence energy. Goku closed his fist, dissolving the energy sphere. The mention of grief brought his thoughts back to Chi-Chi, to Gohan. Will I stay like this? For now, Lumina answered. Until you learn to control the transformation. But be warned, power of this magnitude carries consequences beyond your understanding. As if summoned by her words, a new disturbance rippled through the area. Unlike the chaotic energy of the confluence, this disturbance had purpose and direction. Space folded inward at a point 20 meters from their position, creating a perfectly circular portal. From this portal emerged a humanoid figure wrapped in flowing garments that seemed woven from the fabric of time itself. Patterns resembling clock faces, calendars, and astronomical charts adorned the material, constantly shifting and reconfiguring. The figure's face remained hidden beneath a hood, but two eyes glowed from within, one golden like a sun, one silver like a moon. Chronos, Lumina identified, her posture becoming defensive. You have permitted a grave violation, Guardian, the figure spoke, its voice simultaneously young and ancient, masculine and feminine. This transformation violates the ordained progression of this universe. Who are you? Goku demanded, instinctively moving between the newcomer and his companions. The hooded figure regarded him with its mismatched eyes. I am Chronos, arbiter of timeline integrity. And you, Son Goku, have become an anomaly that threatens the proper flow of time. The confluence is a natural phenomenon, Lumina countered. His transformation was supported by universal forces. Accelerated by a millennium, Chronos corrected. This form was not meant for this era. Its presence disrupts countless potential futures. Goku's new senses detected the immense power contained within Chronos, different from Ki as he understood it, but no less formidable. I didn't choose this, he stated calmly. But I won't let you threaten my world. Your world. Chronos tilted its hooded head. Your transformation has already altered your world's fate irreversibly. The androids that were destined to arrive soon will now face a power beyond their comprehension. Majin Buu may never awaken. Gods who would have tested you will now perceive you as a threat. The mention of unknown future challenges surprised Goku, but he maintained his resolve. Whatever comes, I'll face it. Not as Super Saiyan 5, Chronos declared. My function is to maintain temporal equilibrium. You must relinquish this form or face elimination. Vegeta stepped forward, his own Super Saiyan aura flaring. You threaten a Saiyan prince and his subject. I don't care what cosmic authority you claim. Stand down, Prince Vegeta. Solaria interrupted, her tactical assessment clearly indicating the futility of challenging Chronos. Goku sensed the truth in her caution. Chronos existed on a level beyond conventional combat. Yet something within his new form provided insight, pathways and possibilities invisible before. There must be balance, he acknowledged, addressing Chronos directly. But not through elimination. Through adaptation. Explain, Chronos demanded. You maintain timeline integrity, but timelines naturally accommodate variations and anomalies. Goku spoke with confidence that surprised even himself. Knowledge flowing from somewhere beyond conscious thought. My transformation doesn't destroy the timeline, it creates a new branch, a new potential future. Lumina's eyes widened slightly. He's correct. The cosmic laws allow for divergent timelines when significant nexus events occur. Chronos remained silent for several moments, its mismatched eyes studying Goku with increased intensity. You speak of concepts beyond mortal understanding, it finally stated. Your transformation has indeed granted you perception of higher principles. Then you accept his continued existence in this form. Lumina pressed. Conditionally, Chronos replied. A divergent timeline may proceed, but equilibrium must be maintained. For every action, a counterbalance. For every power, a limitation. The temporal being raised a hand, and reality rippled around Goku. The Super Saiyan 5 transformation flickered momentarily. What are you doing? Vegeta demanded. Applying constraints, Chronos explained dispassionately. His form will be unstable initially. Mastery will require time and trials. And there will be attention from forces beyond your comprehension. What kind of attention? Solaria asked sharply. The premature emergence of Super Saiyan 5 sends ripples across dimensions. Those sensitive to such power will be drawn to it, some as allies, others as challengers or hunters. Chronos lowered its hand. The equilibrium demands this. Goku felt the constraints settle into his new form, not diminishing his power, but making it less stable, requiring conscious effort to maintain. I understand, he acknowledged. Every great power comes with great responsibility. Trite, but accurate, Chronos conceded. Know this, Son Goku, you have stepped onto a path few mortals have traversed. You exist now as a nexus point around which multiple timelines may form or collapse. With those ominous words, Chronos stepped backward into the portal, which sealed itself with a sound like the turning of a massive cosmic gear. An exhausted silence fell over the group. The skies had cleared, returning to normal blue, though subtle auroral patterns still danced at the horizon. The ancient Saiyan temple had partially collapsed, its purpose fulfilled. Well, Vegeta finally remarked with forced casualness, I suppose we should inform the others that Kakarot has once again managed to stumble into unprecedented power through sheer dumb luck. Despite everything, Goku laughed, a sound that caused small ripples of silver energy to dance around him. It wasn't luck, Vegeta. You heard them, it was grief. The prince's expression softened fractionally. Yes, well, he cleared his throat. Can you control reverting to normal, or are we stuck with this glowing cosmic peacock version of you? Goku focused inward, seeking the mental switch that had always allowed him to transform between states. The Super Saiyan 5 form resisted at first, but gradually responded to his will. Silver fur receded, hair darkened and shortened, and the otherworldly aura dissipated. Within moments, he stood before them in his base form, though faint traces of silver still flickered in his eyes. Fascinating, Lumina observed. You've retained partial connection to the higher state even in your base form. This suggests your transformation has permanently altered your fundamental energy structure. Is that bad? Goku asked, suddenly concerned about unforeseen consequences. Unknown, the Cosmic Guardian admitted. This situation is unprecedented. Solaria approached Goku, studying him with renewed interest. The ancient text spoke of the Silver Ascendant as a bridge between dimensions. A Saiyan who would transcend normal limitations and connect our people to greater cosmic powers. I'm just Goku, he insisted, uncomfortable with the reverence in her tone. This power doesn't change who I am or what I care about. Yet it changes everything else, Lumina noted. Your presence in this form will attract attention from across the cosmos. Some beneficial, some not. Let them come, Vegeta declared with characteristic bravado. If Kakarot can achieve this transformation, then I cannot. Lumina interrupted firmly. Not yet. The confluence that enabled this premature evolution has passed. Future transformations must follow the natural progression. The prince's face darkened dangerously. But before he could retort, Goku placed a hand on his shoulder. Vegeta, this doesn't make me better than you. Just different. He met the prince's glare with calm confidence. We still need your strength. Whatever's coming, we'll face it together. For a moment, it seemed Vegeta might explode with rage. Then, surprisingly, he exhaled sharply and nodded once. Fine, but I expect you to teach me everything you learn about Saiyan evolution. No secrets, Kakarot, no secrets, Goku agreed. As the tension dissipated, Goku became aware of a new sensation, a subtle pressure at the back of his consciousness, like someone trying to communicate. He closed his eyes, focusing on the sensation. Goku. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Familiar yet impossible. Chi. No response came, but the brief connection left him shaken. Had he imagined it, or did Super Saiyan 5 somehow allow perception beyond normal boundaries, perhaps even beyond life and death? We should return to the others, he said abruptly. They'll be worried. Solaria straightened her posture formally. Kakarot, or do you prefer, Goku? Goku, please, Goku. Then, with your permission, I would like to remain nearby to observe and document your transformation. As perhaps the last keeper of ancient Saiyan knowledge, it's my duty to record this evolutionary leap. The request surprised him. You want to study me? Study, train with, learn from, she clarified. The Silver Ascendant was prophesied to guide worthy Saiyans toward their own evolution. Before Goku could respond, Lumina interjected. I too must remain in proximity. The cosmic ramifications of your transformation require monitoring. Her galaxy eyes studied him with clinical interest. Additionally, you will need guidance to control aspects of your power that transcend physical dimensions. Vegeta snorted derisively. Wonderful. Kakarot gets cosmic babysitters as well as unprecedented power. They're not babysitters, Vegeta, Goku replied evenly. They're teachers. And after what Kronos said about future challenges, I think we need all the help we can get. The Iron Prince couldn't argue with that logic, though his expression made it clear he wanted to. Instead, he launched himself skyward with a flare of energy. I'm returning to Capsule Corp. Coming, Kakarot. In a moment, Goku turned to Solaria and Lumina. If you're both staying, you should meet the others. But first, he hesitated. I need to see my son. Understanding flickered in Solaria's eyes. Family bonds are sacred even among warrior races. Go to him. Lumina nodded agreement. We will examine the temple ruins further and meet you afterward. With gratitude, Goku focused on Gohan's familiar energy signature and vanished via instant transmission. He reappeared in Bulma's laboratory, where the young half-Saiyan was anxiously watching energy readings with the blue-haired scientist. Dad. Gohan launched himself across the room, colliding with Goku in a fierce hug. The readings were off the charts. What happened? Bulma looked up from her instruments, eyes widening as she noticed. The subtle changes in Goku's appearance, the faint silver highlights in his hair, the unusual clarity in his eyes. Goku, you seem different. Kneeling to meet his son at eye level, Goku placed his hands on Gohan's shoulders. Something incredible happened, son. Something that's going to change everything. Are you okay? Gohan asked, his perceptive eyes studying his father's face. I'm more than okay, Goku assured him with genuine warmth. For the first time since we lost your mother, I feel like we might be able to face whatever comes next. As he embraced his son again, Goku's silent Why acknowledge the truth? Super Saiyan 5 wasn't just a new transformation. It was the beginning of a journey into unknown territory, one that would reshape not just his life, but the fate of everyone connected to him. In the distance, beyond normal perception, cosmic wheels turned. Ancient beings stirred from slumber. And across dimensions, eyes both benevolent and malevolent turned their attention toward Earth. The Silver Ascension had begun. Chapter 2. Cosmic Ripples. The Supreme Kai's sacred world existed in a dimension perpendicular to conventional reality. Here, time flowed differently, a place where minutes stretched into hours or compressed into mere seconds depending on cosmic necessity. Vibrant purple grass carpeted rolling hills beneath a sky painted with nebulae visible even in daylight. Ancient trees, their trunks spiraling in geometrically impossible patterns, bore fruit that gleamed like polished jewels. Goku stood atop the tallest hill, eyes closed in deep concentration. Silver energy crackled around his body as he attempted, for the 17th time that day, to fully manifest his Super Saiyan 5 form. Your approach remains too forceful, observed the Supreme Kai, Hi's violet skin contrasting sharply with the white mohawk that marked his station. Super Saiyan 5 isn't merely an amplification of power like previous transformations. It's a realignment with cosmic principles that transcend physical force. Quote, sweat beaded on Goku's forehead as the silver aura flickered erratically. Patches of crystalline fur materialized across his torso only to dissolve moments later. His hair lengthened, shortened, changed color, unstable as quantum particles. I don't understand what that means, Goku managed through gritted teeth. Behind the Supreme Kai, his attendant Kibito watched with undisguised skepticism. Perhaps a mortal simply cannot maintain such a form without the confluence energy that triggered it initially. A third observer stood apart from the Kai's. Lumina's opalescent form shimmered in the sacred realm's unique light, her presence both harmonizing with and distinct from the divine atmosphere. Incorrect, she stated, moving forward with fluid grace. Quote, the confluence merely accelerated what was already possible within him. The limitations are not physical but perceptual. With a final surge of effort, Goku pushed harder, too hard. The silver energy imploded, sending him crashing to his knees as the partial transformation collapsed entirely. Exhaustion etched lines across his normally youthful face. 3 weeks, he muttered, frustration evident in his voice. 3 weeks and I still can't stabilize it. The Supreme Kai approached, offering a hand to help Goku rise. Even in our realm, where time passes differently, some achievements cannot be rushed. Your mortal form is adapting to energies typically reserved for divine beings. The Chronos entity's constraints also factor significantly, Lumina added. The limitations placed upon your transformation were designed specifically to prevent easy mastery. Goku accepted the Supreme Kai's hand and stood, brushing purple grass from his training GI. In the months since his initial transformation at the ancient Saiyan temple, he had divided his time between the sacred world for training and Earth for his responsibilities to Gohan and the approaching android threat. I need to master this before the androids arrive, Goku insisted. That's less than 6 months Earth time. Your timeline obsession clouds perception, Lumina observed. Her galaxy eyes studied him with clinical interest. Super Saiyan 5 exists partially beyond time's linear progression. To achieve it, you must do the same. Before Goku could question what she meant, a subtle shift in the sacred world's atmosphere drew everyone's attention. Reality rippled as another being phased into existence nearby. Tall, elegant, clad in flowing robes adorned with celestial patterns that shifted like living constellations. Elder Kai, the Supreme Kai acknowledged with a formal bow. "We didn't expect your presence today." The ancient deity harumphed irritably. "Of course not. Nobody expects anything sensible anymore. Not since this one." He jabbed a gnarled finger toward Goku, decided to rearrange the cosmic evolutionary timetable. Despite his cantankerous tone, Elder Kai's eyes held keen interest as he circled Goku, examining him from different angles. "Fascinating," he muttered. "Completely wrong, of course. Utterly inappropriate, but fascinating nonetheless." Goku bowed respectfully. "Elder Kai, do you know something about Super Saiyan 5? Know something? Boy, I was ancient when the first Saiyan ever achieved regular Super Saiyan." The elder deity snorted. "The 5th level was theoretical even in my time. A hypothetical endpoint of Saiyan evolution projected to occur millions of years in the future, not by some spiky-haired upstart with more luck than sense. Then you can help me control it." Elder Kai's eyes narrowed. "Control? You might as well ask to control a supernova with chopsticks." He sighed heavily. "But since you've already disrupted several cosmic balances, we might as well minimize the damage." The ancient Kai settled cross-legged on the grass, motioning for Goku to sit opposite him. "First lesson. Forget everything you know about your previous transformations. They're like comparing a candle to a quasar. I've been trying to summon the power like before." "Exactly wrong," Elder Kai interrupted sharply. "Super Saiyan 5 isn't about summoning power. It's about resonating with it. The power already exists everywhere. Everywhen. Your transformed state is a harmonic frequency that allows you to channel it." Goku's brow furrowed in concentration. "Like tuning an instrument." "An unexpectedly apt metaphor," Lumina commented, drawing Elder Kai's attention. "And who might you be?" he demanded, squinting suspiciously. "Lumina, guardian of the cosmic confluence." Recognition flickered across Elder Kai's ancient features. "Ah, one of those interdimensional busybodies. I suppose your kind would be involved in this mess." Supreme Kai cleared his throat diplomatically. "Elder, perhaps we could focus on helping Goku stabilize his transformation." Yes. Elder Kai turned back to Goku. "Close your eyes. Don't search for power. Instead, listen for a frequency, a vibratio. And that exists just beyond normal perception." Goku obeyed, closing his eyes and extending his senses outward. Initially, he perceived only the familiar energies, key signatures of those around him, the sacred world's ambient power. The distant hum of life across the universe. "Deeper," Elder Kai instructed. "Beyond physical energy, beyond ki. There's a fundamental frequency underlying reality itself." Minutes passed in silence. Then, gradually, Goku became aware of something new, not a power to be grasped but a pattern to be recognized. A cosmic rhythm pulsing through everything, including himself. I think I feel it," he whispered. "Like music without sound. Harmonize with it," Elder Kai directed. "Don't push. Don't pull. Match its frequency." Goku's breathing slowed as he aligned his consciousness with the cosmic pattern. Instead of forcing transformation, he allowed resonance to build naturally. Silver energy began to shimmer around him, not flaring chaotically as before, but flowing like liquid light. "Yes," Lumina murmured, her own form brightening in response. "He's beginning to understand." The transformation progressed gradually, hair lengthening and crystallizing into silver-white strands. Fur materializing across his upper body with deliberate precision rather than chaotic bursts. When Goku finally opened his eyes, they shone with the distinctive azure gold pattern of Super Saiyan 5. "I did it," he realized, examining his transformed state with wonder. Unlike previous attempts, the power felt stable, controlled. Elder Kai nodded with grudging approval. Harmony achieved, however temporarily. Now for the difficult part, maintaining it while actually doing something. Goku stood, testing his movement in the stabilized form. Each motion created subtle ripples in the air around him, as though reality itself responded to his presence. "The constraints remain," Lumina observed. "Chrono's limitations manifest as increased energy expenditure. You'll find this form drains your reserves much faster than your previous transformations." As if confirming her assessment, Goku felt a sudden wave of fatigue. The silver aura flickered once before stabilizing again through conscious effort. How long can I hold it? Initially, perhaps 10 minutes at maximum output, Elder Kai estimated. With practice and proper resonance, you might extend that significantly. But there will always be costs. Supreme Kai stepped forward. What of the techniques unique to this form? The higher dimensional abilities Chronos mentioned. One impossible achievement at a time, Elder Kai grumbled. Let him master basic stability before attempting to bend space-time. A chime-like sound interrupted their discussion, Goku's communicator signaling an incoming message from Earth. He raised the device to his ear, maintaining concentration on his transformed state. Goku here. Bulma's voice crackled through, tinged with urgency. Goku, you need to return immediately. Something's happening at West City, some kind of attack. The others are responding, but these enemies, they're unlike anything we've seen. On my way. Goku lowered the communicator, looking questioningly at the Kais. Will the transformation hold during instant transmission? One way to find out, Elder Kai replied with a shrug. Goku pressed 2 fingers to his forehead, focusing on Vegeta's energy signature, flaring aggressively. Clearly in combat, the sacred world dissolved around him as he slipped between dimensions, rematerializing in the heart of West City. Chaos greeted his arrival. Buildings lay in ruins. Vehicles had been tossed like toys across debris-strewn streets. In the city center, Vegeta and Piccolo fought desperately against 3 humanoid figures whose power signatures defied conventional reading. Maintaining his Super Saiyan 5 form required additional concentration during the dimensional shift, but Goku managed it, arriving on the battlefield in full transformation. His appearance created a momentary pause in the combat, all combatants turning to observe the silver-furred warrior. Kakarot, Vegeta acknowledged between heavy breaths. Blood trickled from a gash above his eye, and his battle suit showed significant damage. About time. Piccolo, equally battered, nodded grimly. These 3 appeared from nowhere. They specifically asked for you before attacking. Goku Street. You died the 3 attackers with heightened senses. They appeared humanoid but with subtle wrongness to their proportions. Their skin bore geometric patterns that shifted continuously, reminiscent of Chronos' time-woven garments. Each emanated an energy signature that seemed to flicker in and out of normal perception. Time-displaced warriors, Lumina's voice announced as she materialized beside Goku. Her arrival drawing surprised looks from Vegeta and Piccolo. Precisely as Chronos warned, your transformation has drawn attention from beyond conventional timelines. The central figure, tall, muscular, with skin like burnished copper, stepped forward. The silver anomaly, he stated in a voice that echoed strangely, as though speaking from multiple temporal positions simultaneously. You violate sequence. You disrupt progression. You must be corrected. Who are you? Goku demanded. What do you want? We are temporal sentinels, the figure replied. Guardians of proper sequential evolution. Your premature ascension threatens ordered progression across multiple timelines. The second figure, lithe, feminine, with quicksilver skin that reflected distorted images of her surroundings, added. The power you wield belongs to a future millennium. Its presence here creates paradox potentials that cannot be permitted. If Chronos sent you, Goku responded, we've already reached an agreement. The constraints, Chronos enforces limitations, interrupted the third figure, whose translucent body revealed intricate clockwork mechanisms beneath its surface. We eliminate causality threats entirely. Without further warning, all 3 attackers moved simultaneously, not simply with speed, but with temporal manipulation. They seemed to skip frames of reality, appearing at different positions without crossing the intervening space. Goku barely raised his guard before the copper-skinned leader struck, a blow that carried force beyond its physical impact, as though hitting through time as well as space. Even in Super Saiyan 5 form, Goku felt the attack reverberate through his body at a fundamental level. Their attacks target your temporal cohesion, Lumina warned, her form shifting defensively. They seek to dislodge you from your proper timestream. Vegeta launched himself at the Quicksilver female, only for his punches to pass through after images as she slipped microseconds ahead of each strike. Stand still and fight properly. He snarled in frustration. Piccolo fared no better against the clockwork entity, his stretching limbs and energy attacks disrupted by localized time dilation fields. Goku recovered quickly from the initial blow, his Super Saiyan 5 senses adapting to perceive the temporal shifts. When the Copper Sentinel attacked again, Goku didn't try to track conventional movement, instead. He felt the distortion in reality preceding the attack. This time, he moved first. Silver energy coalesced around his fist as he struck, not at where the Sentinel was, but where it would be. The blow connected with devastating impact, sending the copper figure crashing through multiple buildings. Impossible, gasped the Quicksilver entity, her reflective surface rippling with shock. He perceives temporal flow. Super Saiyan 5 exists partially beyond conventional time, Lumina explained, her tone almost smug. Your temporal advantages are diminished against him. The revelation changed the battle's dynamic instantly. The Sentinels abandoned their individual attacks, instead forming a triangular formation around Goku. Energy ribbons that resembled unwinding clock springs connected them, creating a temporal cage. If we cannot remove you individually, the Copper leader declared, we will excise this entire temporal node. The implications registered immediately with Goku. They're targeting the whole timeline, he realized aloud. Everyone on Earth. Everyone in this universe. Lumina's expression grew grave. A desperate measure. Even Chronos would not sanction such broad erasure. Stop them, Piccolo shouted, launching himself toward the formation. Too late. The temporal cage activated, creating a sphere of distortion that expanded rapidly outward. Within its boundaries, reality began to unravel, matter reverting to energy, energy dispersing into nothingness. Vegeta fired his most powerful attack at the barrier, only for the energy to age into entropy before making contact. Kakarot, he shouted, whatever you're going to do it now. Inside his Super Saiyan 5 form, Goku perceived options invisible to normal consciousness. The temporal age operated on principles similar to Chronos' power, which meant it manipulated existing cosmic laws rather than violating them. There were rules, patterns, vulnerabilities, acting on instinct refined by newfound cosmic awareness. Goku raised both hands and concentrated. Instead of attacking with force, he resonated with the temporal energies, finding their fundamental frequency and introducing a harmonic disruption. Silver energy extended from his palms, weaving through the temporal cage's structure like threads through fabric. Where they intersected the time ribbons, they created nodes of stability, anchoring points resistant to temporal dissolution. Fascinating application, Lumina observed, contributing her own energies to reinforce Goku's efforts. He's creating fixed points in time, nexus moments that cannot be erased. The Sentinels recognized the threat to their strategy. The Copper leader abandoned the formation, charging directly at Goku with weapons manifested from crystallized time. The assault was ferocious, each strike targeting vital points with surgical precision. Goku couldn't dodge without losing concentration on the countermeasure. Each blow landed with crushing force, drawing silver-tinged blood and fracturing bones. Yet he maintained focus, continuing to weave stability nodes throughout the temporal cage. Need more time, he gasped through bloodied lips. Time is precisely what you lack, the Copper Sentinel replied, readying a killing stroke. The attack never landed. A blur of movement interposed itself between Goku and his attacker, Solaria, the female Saiyan from the temple. Her eyes blazing with battle fury as she caught the Sentinel's arm mid-strike. You forget, she snarled, her tail lashing aggressively behind her. He isn't the only Saiyan warrior on this planet. With strength enhanced by rigorous training since her arrival on Earth, Solaria drove her fist into the Sentinel's midsection, following with a flurry of strikes that forced him back from Goku's position. Finish it, she called over her shoulder. I'll keep him occupied. Protected by Solaria's intervention, Goku completed his countermeasure. The stability nodes multiplied exponentially, spreading throughout the temporal cage's structure like a crystalline lattice. Where they reached critical density, sections of the cage began to shatter. The Quicksilver and Clockwork Sentinels abandoned their positions, trying desperately to repair the collapsing temporal structure. Too late, the disruption had reached critical mass. With a sound like reality itself tearing, the temporal cage imploded. Energy backlashed across the battlefield, throwing combatants in all directions as time-space reasserted normal parameters. When the dust settled, Goku found himself collapsed on the ground. his Super Saiyan 5 transformation dispelled by exhaustion. The Sentinels lay similarly incapacitated nearby, their temporal abilities temporarily neutralized by the backlash. Solaria reached him first, helping him sit up with careful attention to his injuries. That, she remarked with a mix of concern and admiration, was either the most brilliant or most foolish counter-strategy I've ever witnessed. Both. Goku managed with a weak smile. Definitely both. Vegeta and Piccolo approached more cautiously, eyeing the fallen Sentinels with suspicion. Are they dead? Piccolo inquired. No, Lumina answered, examining the creatures with detached curiosity. Merely temporarily stunned. Their connection to their home dimension has been severed by the backlash. They are stranded here, powerless. Then we should eliminate them permanently, Vegeta declared coldly, raising his hand to deliver a finishing blast. No. Goku's voice carried unexpected authority despite his weakened state. They were only following their purpose. And we need information from them. Before further discussion could occur, new energy signatures materialized nearby, a teleportation technique different from instant transmission. Space folded outward rather than inward, depositing two figures onto the battlefield. The first was clearly non-human, blue-skinned and lithe, with geometric patterns tattooed across her visible skin. Multiple devices of unfamiliar design adorned her form, some actively scanning the surroundings. Her movements were precise, analytical, her eyes recording everything with clinical interest. Beside her stood a taller figure, a woman whose bearing immediately suggested nobility or leadership. Her skin bore ritual scarification patterns that somehow enhanced rather than detracted from her striking appearance. Armor of unfamiliar design covered vital areas while leaving limbs free for movement, and various weapons hung from a utility harness across her torso. Fascinating, the blue-skinned woman stated, her voice carrying a subtle electronic harmonic as she approached without apparent concern for potential danger. Temporal displacement followed by harmonic disruption. The residual energy patterns are quite distinctive. The warrior woman moved with greater caution, her hand resting on what appeared to be a weapon hilt. Azura, maintain distance until we confirm hostility parameters. Vegeta stepped forward aggressively. Who are you? More temporal attackers. Quite the opposite. The blue woman, Azura, replied, seemingly unperturbed by Vegeta's threatening posture. We've been tracking these temporal sentinels across three-dimensional planes. You saved us considerable effort by neutralizing them. The warrior woman studied each person present, her gaze lingering longest on Goku. I am Kira, War Princess of the Koraxian Sovereignty. We seek alliance with the being designated as the Silver Ascendant. How do you know that title? Solaria demanded suspiciously. Azura's devices beeped as she directed them toward Goku. The quantum signature is unmistakable, despite current reversion to base form. This is indeed the trans-dimensional anomaly we've been seeking. Goku struggled to his feet despite Solaria's attempt to keep him still. I'm Goku, or Kakarot, if you prefer Saiyan naming. And I'd really appreciate an explanation about why people keep showing up to either kill me or study me. Temporal shock makes him irritable, Lumina explained to the newcomers. His transformation is recent and not fully integrated. Kira nodded understanding. We should secure these sentinels and move to a defensible location. My instruments detect additional dimensional disturbances approaching this position. Capsule Corporation, Vegeta decided. T's nearby and has appropriate containment facilities. As they gathered the unconscious sentinels, Goku noticed civilian emergency responders arriving at the battle zone's perimeter. The human casualties and property damage struck him with fresh intensity, consequences of his transformation that Kronos had warned about. These people were hurt because of me, he realized aloud. No, Kira corrected firmly. They were hurt because temporal fundamentalists cannot accept evolutionary divergence. The blame lies with those who attacked, not the one attacked. Her perspective was unexpected but somehow comforting. Goku nodded gratitude as they prepared to transport to Capsule Corp. You know, Piccolo observed dryly as they departed, a month ago our biggest concern was two androids. Now we're dealing with time warriors, cosmic guardians, and interdimensional visitors. Vegeta snorted. Blame Kakarot's talent for complicating everything. Actually, Azura interjected, her instruments still actively scanning. The causality chain indicates these complications were inevitable once certain cosmic thresholds were crossed. Specifically, the death of the human female designated, Chi-Chi, appears to be the primary catalyst. The casual mention of his late wife froze Goku mid-motion. What did you say? Azura blinked in apparent confusion at his reaction. The quantum entanglement patterns are quite clear. Her death created resonance patterns that attracted confluence energy to your position, enabling premature transformation. You're saying Chi-Chi's death wasn't natural? Goku's voice dropped dangerously. Natural within standard parameters, but externally influenced, Azura clarified, seemingly oblivious to the emotional impact of her analysis. The illness that claimed her exhibited energy signatures consistent with temporal manipulation. Someone altered causality to ensure her death at that specific point in your timeline. The revelation landed like a physical blow. Goku had accepted Chi-Chi's death as tragic but natural, an illness that even senzu beans couldn't cure. The possibility that someone had deliberately taken her from him had orchestrated his grief. Raw power surged through him, silver energy crackling across his skin despite his exhausted state. Who, he demanded, who would do that? Kira placed a restraining hand on Azura's arm. Perhaps this discussion should continue in a more secure location, she suggested, eyeing Goku's unstable energy flares with professional concern. Agreed, Lumina stated firmly. His emotional state could trigger premature transformation attempts, potentially causing further dimensional instabilities. Vegeta, surprisingly, moved to Goku's side. Control yourself, Kakarot, he ordered, though his tone lacked its usual harshness. If someone manipulated events to harm your family, we'll find them. But not by losing control here. The unexpected alliance of concern from friends and strangers alike helped Goku regain composure. The silver energy receded, though anger continued to simmer beneath the surface. Let's go to Capsule Corp, he agreed tightly. I want to hear everything. Bulma brief's scientific genius expressed itself not just in invention but in preparation. The Capsule Corporation headquarters contained facilities for virtually every contingency, including, as it happened, temporally shielded holding cells perfect for containing the unconscious sentinels. I designed them after studying the time machine Trunks arrived in, she explained as security systems activated around the captured attackers. Figured if one time traveler could find us, others might too. The group had gathered in Bulma's most secure conference room, a space shielded against both conventional and esoteric surveillance. Gohan had joined them upon their arrival, rushing to his father's side with evident concern for his injuries. I'm okay, son, Goku assured him, though the silver-tinged bruises across his body suggested otherwise. Azura had set up her equipment around the room's perimeter, creating what she described as a dimensional stability field. Various holographic displays projected data only she seemed able to interpret. Perhaps introductions are in order, Bulma suggested diplomatically, since we seem to have acquired quite a few new allies. Guests. Both, potentially, Kira replied. Shish. He stood with military posture near the room's entrance, positioning that allowed optimal response to potential threats, a warrior's habit Goku recognized from his own training. I have already encountered Lumina and Solaria, Goku explained. They've been helping me understand and control the Super Saiyan 5 transformation since it first manifested. Lumina inclined her head in acknowledgement. My unction as Cosmic Confluence Guardian necessitates monitoring significant evolutionary leaps, particularly those that affect dimensional stability. And I track ancient Saiyan prophecies, Solaria added. Her initial formality around Goku had gradually softened over the past month of training together. The Silver Ascendant was foretold to guide worthy Saiyans toward their own evolution. Vegeta made a dismissive sound but refrained from commentary. As for our newest arrivals, Goku continued, gesturing toward Kira and Azura, perhaps you could explain why you've been tracking these sentinels, and what you know about Chi-Chi. Kira nodded respectfully. My people, the Coraxians, maintain historical records dating back 30,000 years. These include accounts of previous Silver ascendants across multiple dimensions. This revelation drew startled reactions from everyone except Lumina. Previous Silver ascendants? Piccolo questioned sharply. You're saying Goku isn't the first? He is the first in this dimensional branch, Kira clarified. But the multiverse contains many potential evolutionary paths. In some, the Saiyan race achieved the silver transformation naturally, over millennia of evolution. In others, Cosmic confluence events similar to yours accelerated the process. And in every instance, Azura continued, manipulating her instruments to display complex multidimensional models. Temporal authorities attempted intervention. The conflict between evolutionary progress and temporal conservation is a multiversal constant. Bulma leaned forward, scientifically intrigued despite the circumstances. So these temporal sentinels, they've attacked other Silver Ascendants before. Yes, Kira confirmed, but not independently. They serve a greater authorate. Why? An entity our records identify as equilibrium. Lumina's normally composed expression showed rare alarm. Equilibrium, not merely Chronos. Chronos is merely an arbiter, Azura explained. IUM is the fundamental force that maintains cosmic balance across all dimensions. When significant evolutionary leaps occur prematurely, equilibrium deploys increasingly aggressive measures to restore proper sequence. Gohan, who had remained quietly attentive until now, asked the question foremost in everyone's mind. And my mother, how does she connect to this? Kira's expression softened slightly as she addressed the young half-Saiyan. According to our analysis, your mother's death was engineered specifically to create emotional conditions necessary for premature transformation. But why? Gohan pressed. Why would this equilibrium entity want my father to transform if they're against the transformation? They didn't, Azura answered, her blue fingers dancing across holographic controls. Our theory suggests a third faction's involvement, one that specifically sought to accelerate Saiyan evolution against established temporal protocols. Goku's hands clenched into fists. You're eyeing someone deliberately killed Chi-Chi just to trigger my transformation. Who would do something so cruel? The Architects, Kira stated grimly. A trans-dimensional collective that believes evolutionary acceleration is necessary for the multiverse's ultimate survival. They oppose equilibrium's conservative approach to cosmic development. So we're caught in some kind of interdimensional philosophical dispute? Piccolo asked incredulously. Much more than philosophical, Lumina corrected. The conflict between conservation and acceleration has shaped cosmic evolution since the multiverse's formation. What happens here could influence countless dimensions. Goku stood abruptly, silver energy flickering around him despite his injuries. I don't care about cosmic politics. Someone took Chi-Chi from us, from Gohan and me. Someone manipulated my grief to trigger this transformation. I want to know who specifically was responsible. An uncomfortable silence fell across the room. Finally, Azura spoke, her clinical tone softening slightly. According to our temporal trace analysis, the agent who introduced the pathogen that caused your wife's illness arrived approximately 7 months ago. They used technology designed to bypass normal dimensional barriers. She hesitated. We believe they may still be on Earth, monitoring the consequences of their action. The revelation that Chi's killer might be nearby sent a fresh surge of rage through Goku. Only Gohan's presence beside him prevented full transformation. We'll find them, he promised his son quietly. And we'll make this right. Kira cleared her throat. There's more you should know. Our intelligence suggests Equilibrium has dispatched more than just sentinels. They've authorized a chrono executor, an entity with authority to eliminate entire timeline branches if necessary. How powerful is this executor? Vegeta demanded. Powerful enough to challenge a Silver Ascendant, Kira answered honestly. Which is why the Coraxian sovereignty has authorized me to offer alliance. My people have developed technologies specifically designed to counter temporal weapons and tactics. And my research, Azura added, uses on accelerated evolution across species. I've studied 17 previous evolutionary leap events across 9 dimensions. The data could prove invaluable in helping stabilize your transformation. Goku looked around the room, at allies old and new, all brought together by his unexpected transformation. The simple life he'd known had vanished as surely as if it had been erased from time itself. We accept your help, he decided, speaking for the group, but I need to know everything about these architects and exactly how they caused Chi-Chi's illness. Everything. Training became more complex with the addition of Kira and Azura to Goku's growing circle of teachers. Each brought unique perspectives and techniques that expanded his understanding of Super Saiyan 5's capabilities. 2 weeks after the Temporal Sentinels' attack, Goku stood in the specialized training chamber Bulma had constructed beneath Capsule Corporation. The room's walls incorporated elements from Kira's dimensional stabilization technology and Azora's evolutionary acceleration research, creating an environment where he could practice transformation safely. Again, Kira commanded from the chamber's control station. But this time, maintain awareness of your body's position across all 7 temporal axes. Goku closed his eyes, focusing on the resonance technique Elder Kai had taught him. Silver energy began to flow around him. But instead of engulfing him immediately, it formed complex geometric patterns in the air, visualizations of temporal dimensions normally invisible to mortal perception. Fascinating efficiency improvement, Azura noted. Her device is recording every aspect of the process. His transformation pathway has optimized by 17.3% since our initial baseline. Solaria watched from nearby, her expression combining pride and analytical assessment. In the weeks since her arrival on Earth, she'd become something of a combination mentor and student, teaching Goku ancient Saiyan combat techniques while learning from him about Earth and its defenders. His control is improving, she observed. The transformation no longer depletes his reserves as quickly. Lumina, who had been observing silently, added. The harmonic resonance stabilizes with each attempt. Chrono's constraints remain, but he adapts to work within them rather than fighting against them. The silver energy collapsed inward, enveloping Goku in radiant light. When it faded, he stood fully transformed, Super Saiyan 5 in its complete manifestation. Silver-white fur covered his upper body, crystalline hair flowed down his back. And his eyes shone with their distinctive azure gold pattern. Unlike early attempts, the transformation now appeared completely stable. No flickering, no energy fluctuations, no signs of strain. Goku moved through a series of kata with fluid grace, each motion creating subtle ripples in the chamber's specialized atmosphere. Power output consistent across all measured spectrums, Azura reported. Satisfaction evident in her usually clinical voice. Quantum cohesion at 97.2% stability. Kira activated the chamber's combat systems, advanced training drones incorporating both physical and temporal attack patterns. Defensive sequence initiating. Remember to perceive attack vectors through time, not just space. The drones launched their assault, moving with unnatural speed enhanced by micro-temporal shifts. To normal perception, they would appear to teleport erratically. But through Super Saiyan 5's enhanced senses, Goku perceived their true movement, traceries of probability extending through multiple temporal positions. He didn't dodge where the attacks were coming from. He intercepted them at their causality nodes, points where temporal possibilities collapsed into definite actions. The technique required precise perception and timing impossible for normal consciousness. Exceptional adaptation, Kira commented as Goku neutralized drone after drone without taking a single hit. He's internalizing temporal combat principles faster than any subject I've trained. Solaria allowed herself a small smile. Saiyans are natural combat adapters. Especially this one. As the training session progressed, Vegeta entered the observation area. Though he'd maintained his characteristic aloofness, the Saiyan Prince had been watching Goku's training with undisguised interest. Bulma wants everyone upstairs, he announced without preamble. The Sentinels are finally talking. Goku dispatched the final training drone and powered down from Super Saiyan 5, a process he'd also mastered. Allowing controlled deactivation rather than energy depletion. The silver aura receded gradually, crystalline fur dissolving into light particles as his appearance returned to normal. Did they say anything useful? He asked, accepting a towel from Solaria to wipe away sweat. Something about a convergence point. Approaching, Vegeta replied. Apparently, we have less time than we thought. The captured temporal sentinels had been contained within specialized holding fields that neutralized their chronokinetic abilities. After 2 weeks of silence, the copper-skinned leader had finally requested audience with the silver anomaly. Quote, Equilibrium recognizes futility in direct opposition, he stated when Goku entered the containment area. Your accelerated evolution proceeds despite conservation protocols. That's not much of an apology for trying to erase our entire timeline, Piccolo observed dryly. The Sentinel's expression remained impassive. Apology implies regret. We performed designated function. Goku approached the containment field, studying the temporal being with newly enhanced perception. Why are you talking to us now? Convergence approaches. Multiversal nexus point imminent. The Sentinel's copper skin rippled with patterns resembling mathematical equations. Equilibrium offers conditional compromise. Hira and Azura exchanged concerned glances. Convergence. Azura repeated. According to my calculations, no significant cosmic alignment is due for at least 73 years in this dimensional branch. Artificial convergence, the Sentinel clarified. Architect designed. Purpose. Forced evolutionary acceleration across multiple dimensional nodes simultaneously. The implications silenced everyone momentarily. Lumina recovered first, her ethereal form shimmering with evident concern. The architect's plan to replicate the cosmic confluence effect artificially. She asked. That would require energy on a scale capable of universal reformation, the Sentinel confirmed. Potential consequence. Dimensional collapse cascade. Gohan, who had insisted on being included in all discussions despite Goku's protective instincts, asked, what exactly does that mean in practical terms? It means, Bulma translated grimly, that whoever killed your mother is planning something that could destroy multiple universes, not just accelerate evolution. Correct assessment. The Sentinel acknowledged. Equilibrium proposes alliance despite conflicting objectives. Silver Anomaly's premature evolution now recognized as potential countermeasure to greater threat. Goku considered the offer carefully. You tried to erase my entire timeline. Why should we trust you now? Trust irrelevant. Mutual survival imperative. The Copper Sentinel's eyes fixed on Goku with emotionless intensity. Convergence device location identified. Temporal coordinates established. Combined intervention required to prevent activation. And after, Piccolo pressed. If we help stop these architects, what then? Does Equilibrium continue trying to correct Goku's transformation? Unknown. Beyond current authorization parameters. Hira stepped forward. The Coraxian Chords suggest Equilibrium historically honors truces when greater threats emerge. Their primary function is conservation of existing reality, not specific evolutionary restriction. If these architects really are planning something that could threaten multiple universes, Gohan reasoned, we don't have much choice but to investigate. Goku nodded agreement, though suspicion lingered. Where is this convergence device? And when will it activate? The Sentinel's skin displayed temporal coordinates in a format only Azura could interpret. She quickly translated them using her equipment. It's here on Earth, she announced with surprise. Specifically, at the coordinates of the ancient Saiyan temple where your transformation first occurred. Temporal activation sequence already initiated, the Sentinel added. Convergence manifestation in approximately 72 of your hours. 3 days, Bulma calculated. Not much time to prepare. Prepare for what, exactly? Vegeta demanded. Quote, we still don't know what this convergence device does or how dangerous it really is. The Quicksilver Sentinel spoke for the first time since their capture, her reflective surface displaying cascading numerical sequences. Device function. Artificial replication of conditions that enabled Silver Anomaly transformation. Targeted effect. Simultaneous forced evolution of selected entities across 17-dimensional branches. Who? Goku asked. Who are they trying to transform? Individuals with specific genetic markers, the Clockwork Sentinel answered. Across dimensional branches. Saiyans, Namekians, Frost Demons, and various other species with transformation potential. Azora's blue skin paled slightly. They're trying to force evolutionary leaps in the most powerful warrior races across multiple dimensions simultaneously. The energy requirements alone would destabilize dimensional boundaries, Lumina finished gravely. Creating cascade effects that could collapse entire universal branches. All this to create more fighters like me. Goku couldn't hide his disbelief. That makes no sense. Unless they're preparing for something worse, Piccolo suggested quietly. Something that requires an army of evolved warriors. A heavy silence fell over the group as they contemplated the implications. Finally, Goku straightened his posture, decision made. 3 days to prepare, then we go to the temple and stop this device. Hira nodded approval. The Coraxian sovereignty stands with you. My equipment includes temporal disruption weaponry specifically designed to counter architect technology. My research may help identify critical vulnerabilities in the convergence mechanism, Azura offered. Solaria stepped beside Goku, her posture indicating battle readiness. ANC. Ancient Saiyan texts speak of techniques specifically developed to counter time manipulation. I can adapt them to your Silver Ascendant abilities. One by one, each ally offered their unique skills and knowledge. Even Vegeta, after characteristic hesitation, grudgingly volunteered his power. Not because I care about other dimensions, he clarified with a scowl, but because these architects need to learn that manipulating Saiyans has consequences. Goku smiled slightly at the prince's predictable response. Then his expression hardened as he remembered why they faced this threat at all. Whoever killed Chi-Chi will be there, he stated with quiet certainty. The one who started all this. We will find them, Gohan promised, his young face set with determination that mirrored his father's. For Mom. For everyone, Goku corrected gently. That's what she would want. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Training sessions intensified. Strategy meetings ran into early morning hours. Equipment was tested, modified, and enhanced with combined technology from multiple sources. Through it all, Goku found himself drawing unexpected strength from the diverse allies gathered around him. Each brought not just tactical advantages but perspectives that expanded his understanding of his new form and its place in the greater cosmic order. Kira taught him temporal combat, techniques developed over centuries of Koraxian military tradition. Her methods were disciplined, precise, efficient, reflecting her position as war princess of her people. Though initially formal in their interactions, a mutual respect had developed through shared training. Your instincts compensate for lack of formal temporal combat training, she observed during one particularly intense session. You adapt faster than any warrior I've instructed. Goku deflected a temporally phased strike with careful precision. I've always learned best by doing rather than studying. A trait my people would appreciate. A rare smile crossed her scarred features. The Koraxian philosophy holds that knowledge must be lived, not merely accumulated. From Azura, Goku gained understanding of his transformation's scientific aspects. The blue-skinned researcher approached Super Saiyan 5 as a fascinating research subject, her analytical mind cataloging every detail with methodical precision. Your cellular AR structure undergoes 17 distinct changes during transformation, she explained while reviewing scanner data. Most fascinating is the dimensional phase shift occurring at the quantum level. Goku attempted to follow her explanations despite their complexity. So part of me exists, elsewhere. Even when transformed. Precisely. Her eyes lit with enthusiasm at his comprehension. Approximately 22.7% of your energy signature resonates at frequencies beyond conventional three-dimensional space. This enables the time perception abilities you've demonstrated. Solaria's contributions were more traditional but equally valuable. As perhaps the last keeper of ancient Saiyan combat knowledge, she taught Goku techniques long forgotten even by Vegeta. Our ancestors understood that true power comes not from force alone, but from harmony with universal energies, she explained during meditation sessions. The silver transformation was considered the ultimate expression of this principle. Her reverence for Saiyan traditions gradually gave way to more personal interaction as they trained together. Goku found her perspective on his heritage illuminating, filling gaps in his understanding of what it truly meant to be Saiyan beyond Raditz's brutish explanation or Vegeta's royal perspective. Lumina remained the most enigmatic of his teachers, her cosmic nature making her simultaneously insightful and detached. Yet even she had begun showing more personalized interest in his progress. Your adaptation rate exceeds cosmic norms, she noted while observing his energy manipulation exercises. Most beings require centuries to integrate dimensional awareness as you have in weeks. I've always been a quick study, Goku replied with characteristic modesty. Her galaxy eyes studied him thoughtfully. Perhaps you were always meant for this evolution, regardless of timeline constraints. As the final hours before their mission approached, Goku found himself on Capsule Corp's roof, gazing at the night sky. Stars gleamed overhead, and for the first time, he could perceive subtle connections between them, cosmic strings binding the universe together in patterns invisible to normal sight. He sensed Gohan's approach before hearing his footsteps. His son settled beside him in comfortable silence, both looking upward at the vast cosmos. Dad, Gohan eventually said, I've been thinking about what happens after we stop this device. What do you mean? All these new people in our lives. These cosmic forces and dimensions. Gohan gestured vaguely skyward. Even if we win tomorrow, nothing goes back to normal. Does it? The question struck Goku with its simple profundity. His son, despite his youth, had identified the fundamental truth he'd been avoiding. No, he admitted quietly. I don't think normal exists for us anymore, Gohan. My transformation changed everything, not just for me, but for everyone connected to me. I thought so. Gohan drew his knees up to his chest. I miss Mom, and sometimes I miss when things were simpler. Goku placed an arm around his son's shoulders. Me too, kiddo, but your mother always said that change is how we grow. And sometimes growth hurts before it helps. She did say that, Gohan acknowledged with a small smile. Usually when making me study something difficult. They sat together in companionable silence for several minutes before Gohan spoke again. I like Celeria, he offered unexpectedly. She's been teaching me some ancient Saiyan history between training sessions. And Kira showed me how her dimensional pawns work. The engineering is fascinating. Goku blinked in surprise. I didn't realize you'd been spending time with them. Azora's been helping with my science studies too, Gohan continued. She saw, my comprehension rate exceeds standard parameters for my developmental stage, which I think means I'm doing well. A complicated emotion rose in Goku's chest, pride in his son's adaptability mixed with a strange discomfort. These women had entered their lives through his transformation, and already they were forming connections with Gohan. Does that bother you? He asked carefully, having all these new people around. Gohan considered the question with characteristic thoughtfulness. Not exactly. They're all interesting, and they've been kind to me. He paused. But I was wondering if it bothers you. Me, why would it? Because. Gohan hesitated. Sometimes I see how they look at you, Dad. Not just as a student or the Silver Ascendant or whatever. But as, you know. Goku sighed. Enlil found himself wishing for an enemy to fight instead of navigating this conversation. I'm not sure what you mean, son. Gohan gave him a look that suggested he wasn't fooled. Dad, I'm 11, not stupid. Celeria especially, but the others too. They're interested in you, the way Mom was. Heat rose in Goku's face. Gohan, that's not. I mean, I haven't. It's okay. Gohan interrupted, surprising Goku with his maturity. Mom's gone, and I know you loved her more than anything. But she wouldn't want you to be alone forever. The simple statement, delivered with a child's directness yet an old soul's wisdom, left Goku momentarily speechless. That's not something we need to worry about right now, he finally managed. Tomorrow we face whoever took your mother from us. That's all that matters. Gohan nodded, accepting the deflection. I know. I just wanted you to know that whatever happens after, with any of them, it's okay. I'll be okay. Goku pulled his son into a tight hug, marveling at the strength of spirit that allowed an 11-year-old to offer such understanding. Chi-Chi would have been so proud of the young man Gohan was becoming. You're something else, you know that. He murmured into his son's wild hair, so much like his own. I get it from both of you, Gohan replied simply. As they separated, a subtle shimmer in the air announced Lumina's arrival. The cosmic guardian materialized beside them, her opalescent form glowing softly in the darkness. Forgive the interruption, she said, noting their private moment. But our sensors detect energy fluctuations at the temple site. The convergence device appears to be activating ahead of projected timeline. Goku stood immediately, all personal concerns forgotten. How much time do we have? Less than 5 hours, Lumina answered gravely. The others are already preparing for immediate departure. Then we move now. Goku's expression hardened with resolve. Gohan, find Piccolo and I'm coming with you, his son stated firmly. No room for argument in his tone. Goku recognized the determination in Gohan's eyes, the same look Chi-Chi had worn when her mind was absolutely made up. He nodded once in acceptance. Together, then, let's end this. As they descended to join the others, the night sky above them rippled with subtle distortions, precursors to the dimensional disruption that threatened multiple universes. The convergence had begun. Chapter 3. Balance of Power. Dawn hadn't yet broken over West City when the dimensional shockwave hit. It passed through matter like a ghost, imperceptible to ordinary humans. But Goku felt it like a physical blow. The air around Capsule Corporation shimmered with prismatic distortions as reality itself protested against what was coming. That's the fifth harmonic disruption in 30 minutes. Azura announced, blue fingers manipulating holographic displays that hovered around her. Convergence acceleration has increased by 47.3% since our last measurement. Kira checked her temporal weaponry with practiced efficiency, each movement precise and purposeful. We're running out of time. The device is adapting to our detection methods. The assembled Defender S had gathered on Capsule Corp's roof launch pad, a space large enough to accommodate their full group while providing minimal interference with Bulma's scanning equipment. Goku stood at the center, ready in his base Super Saiyan form to conserve energy. Full Super Saiyan 5 transformation would be needed at the temple site, but maintaining it unnecessarily would drain reserves they couldn't afford to lose. Vegeta paced impatiently nearby, his own golden aura flickering with barely contained aggression. I don't understand why we're still here. If time is critical, we should attack now. Rushing without proper dimensional stabilization would be suicide, Celeria countered, adjusting her modified Saiyan armor. She had abandoned her initial ceremonial attitude toward Goku, now addressing High M as an equal rather than a prophesied figure. The temple site exists in multiple phase states simultaneously now. We need protection. As if summoned by her words, a new disturbance manifested on the launch pad. Unlike the chaotic dimensional shockwaves, this distortion appeared controlled, deliberate, a perfect circle of swirling energy that expanded from a central point like ripples in a cosmic pond. Everyone assumed defensive positions instantly. Piccolo positioned himself in front of Gohan despite the young half-Saiyan's protest. Kira raised her temporal disruptor rifle while Vegeta gathered destructive energy in both hands. Stand down, Lumina commanded with unexpected authority. This signature is known to me. From the center of the circular distortion emerged a figure that seemed to exist between states of reality. A woman, at least in general shape, whose features constantly shifted between different possibilities, never settling into a single definite appearance. Patterns of ancient symbols orbited her like electrons around a nucleus, occasionally emitting sparks of multi-hued energy. Behind her floated a second being, this one more consistently humanoid but with subtle otherworldly qualities. Her skin bore constellation-like patterns that shifted position like the actual night sky, and her movements left faint trails of cosmic dust in her wake. Maeve, Lumina acknowledged the first figure. And Serafina, your presence was foretold but not expected so soon. The shifting woman, Maeve, made a gesture that caused several of the orbiting symbols to flash brightly. Time grows thin between realities, she replied, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to originate from multiple sources simultaneously. The architect's convergence device creates ripples that react backward and forward across dimensional barriers. Who are they? Vegeta demanded, not lowering his guard despite Lumina's assurance. The constellation-patterned woman, Serafina, regarded the Saiyan prince with ancient eyes that somehow contained pinpricks of starlight. We are observers and keepers of cosmic balance, she answered, her voice musical and flowing like a celestial melody. I have watched this planet since its formation. While Maeve walks between dimensions, preserving knowledge lost to time. More cosmic entities, Piccolo observed dryly. Our little planet is becoming quite popular in higher dimensions. Maeve's ever-shifting features settled momentarily into an expression resembling amusement. Earth has always been a nexus point of cosmic significance, Namekian. But recent events have elevated it to unprecedented importance. Her gaze, or what passed for it on her mercurial face, settled on Goku. The Silver Ascendant, prematurely evolved, yet perfectly formed nonetheless. The architects chose well when they selected your timeline for acceleration. Goku stepped forward, tension evident in his normally relaxed posture. You know the architects. Are you one of them? I know all who walk between realities, Maeve replied enigmatically. But I serve no faction. My purpose is preservation of cosmic knowledge across dimensional boundaries. And I maintain observational neutrality, Serafina added. Constellation patterns shifting across her skin. Though recent events test even my ancient commitment to non-interference. Before further questions could be asked, another dimensional shockwave rolled through the area, this one powerful enough to visibly distort physical matter for several seconds. Capsule Corp's structure groaned under dimensional stress, windows briefly warping in their frames. Temporal displacement increasing exponentially, Azura reported urgently. Convergence timeline compressed to less than 60 minutes. Maeve nodded as though confirming a personal calculation. The device has detected our gathering. It accelerates to prevent intervention. Then we move now, Goku decided, his golden aura intensifying. Bulma, can your dimensional stabilizers protect everyone during transit? The blue-haired scientist held up what looked like modified wristwatches. These should keep everyone phase-locked to our primary dimension, but they have limitations. Significant power expenditure or extreme distortion could overload them. We don't need them, Maeve interjected, her orbiting symbols rearranging into new configurations. ICAN create a pathway between here and the temple, a dimensional corridor that bypasses normal space-time constraints. Hera regarded the dimensional sorceress with professional assessment. Your methods are unknown to Coraxian temporal science. Can we trust their stability? You cannot, Maeve admitted candidly. But necessity provides few alternatives. The convergence approaches critical threshold. Goku looked to Lumina, who gave a subtle nod of confirmation. Do it, he authorized. Everyone stay together and be ready for anything. Maeve raised both hands, causing her orbiting symbols to accelerate and multiply. They expanded outward, forming an intricate pattern in the air that resembled a doorway woven from mathematical equations and ancient glyphs. Reality parted within this framework, revealing a tunnel that seemed to extend infinitely while simultaneously having no length at all, a paradox made tangible. The path is formed, Maeve announced. But it cannot hold indefinitely. We must proceed immediately. One by one, the defenders entered the dimensional corridor, first Kira and Azura with their technological protections, then Piccolo keeping Gohan close, followed by Vegeta and Celeria. With Lumina and Serafina moving as natural inhabitants of cosmic spaces. Bulma remained behind to monitor from Capsule Corp and coordinate any necessary support. Goku entered last, casting one final glance at the world he'd sworn to protect, a world increasingly caught in conflicts beyond normal comprehension. The corridor sealed behind him as he stepped through, cutting off any possibility of retreat. Inside the dimensional pathway, conventional physics held no authority. They moved without walking, advanced without distance, experienced without senses. Communication occurred through intention rather than speech. Time stretched and compressed simultaneously. Through this impossible space, Maeve guided them with apparent familiarity. Her shifting form seemed most stable here, as though this in-between state matched her natural existence. Symbols continued orbiting her, occasionally breaking off to mark their path or neutralize distortions that threatened the corridor's integrity. After what might have been seconds or eons, reality reasserted itself. The dimensional corridor opened onto a landscape transformed beyond recognition. Where once had stood the ancient Saiyan temple amid mountain wilderness, now existed a nexus of converging realities. The temple ruins floated in midair, fragments reconstructing and dissolving in endless patterns. Surrounding mountains phase-ed between different possible configurations, sometimes appearing as they had for millennia, sometimes appearing as they might in potential futures. Most striking was the convergence device itself, a crystalline structure resembling a lotus flower, each petal containing swirling galaxies in miniature. It hovered above where the temple's central platform had been, pulsing with energy that distorted light and matter around it. Streams of power flowed from the device into 17 equidistant points surrounding it, each stream connecting to what appeared to be windows into other dimensions. Multiple universe nodes successfully connected, Azura observed, her instruments scanning frantically. The convergence has already begun. Through the dimensional windows, they glimpsed other worlds, some recognizable variations of their own. Others wildly different. In each, beings of power were visible, many resembling Saiyans or other warrior races. Some appeared to be writhing in pain as the energy streams connected to them, forcing evolutionary changes against natural progression. It's worse than we calculated, Kira stated grimly. The architects aren't just accelerating evolution, they're forcing specific warrior-oriented adaptations across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Creating an army, Piccolo concluded, his keen strategic mind grasping the implications immediately. But for what purpose? Movement near the convergence device drew their attention. Three figures monitored the process from different positions around the crystal lotus, humanoid in general shape but with the distinctive geometric patterns that marked architect agents. Their forms shimmered with the same temporal distortion that had characterized the Sentinels, though these beings radiated power on an entirely different scale. The Triumvirate, Serafina identified, her voice unusually solemn. Architect commanders responsible for implementation of grand-scale cosmic manipulation. Goku studied them carefully, his Super Saiyan senses enhanced by partial connection to his higher form. Which one of them killed Chi-Chi? He asked, the question emerging with quiet intensity. Maeve's shifting features settled momentarily into an expression resembling regret. The causality architect, the one whose body contains circular patterns like clock faces. They specialize in altering specific events to create desired outcome chains. Rage surged through Goku, threatening to trigger premature transformation. Only Gohan's presence beside him helped maintain control. Then that's who I'm going for. Not alone, Solaria stated firmly. Moving to his side, the Triumvirate never operates independently. They're linked through quantum entanglement. Attack one and all respond. We need a coordinated approach, Kira agreed. Activating her temporal disruption equipment. My weapons can temporarily sever their connection, creating a brief window for direct assault. While they strategized, one of the architects, a figure whose body resembled flowing silver liquid, turned toward their position. There was no visible face, yet somehow they projected awareness and recognition. Intervention forces detected, it announced in a voice that resonated at frequencies beyond normal hearing. Divergent timeline elements identified. The other two architects immediately shifted attention from the convergence device. The causality specialist, the one responsible for Chi-Chi's death, made a complex gesture that sent ripples through local reality. Suddenly, the space surrounding the defenders became thick and resistant, as though time itself had become viscous. Temporal density field, Azura identified as her movements slowed dramatically. They're trying to immobilize us while convergence completes. Goku Fei, LT the pressure attempting to constrain him but found his partial connection to Super Saiyan 5 provided resistance. Everyone stay close to me, he instructed, his golden aura pushing back against the temporal density. Maeve's symbols accelerated their orbit, creating a secondary field that provided limited protection. We have perhaps 7 minutes before convergence reaches irreversible threshold, she warned. After that, dimensional collapse begins. Then we end this now. Goku closed his eyes briefly, focusing on the resonance technique that facilitated his highest transformation. Silver. Energy began bleeding into his golden aura, creating a spiraling mixture of colors that pushed more effectively against the temporal resistance. Vegeta, struggling more visibly against the temporal density, snarled in frustration. Don't hog all the glory, Kakarot. These timeline manipulators need to learn what happens when they target Saiyans. Actually, Serafina interjected, constellation patterns shifting rapidly across her skin. They targeted Saiyans specifically because your evolutionary potential exceeds most other species. Your transformation capabilities make you ideal vessels for accelerated development. Less talking, more fighting, Kira suggested practically, her temporal disruption rifle finally breaking through its charging cycle despite the time dilation. Firing in 3, 2, 1. A beam of energy unlike conventional ki burst from her weapon, striking the space between the three architects. Instead of explosive impact, it created what appeared to be a localized temporal vortex that disrupted the connections between them. The silver liquid architects' form destabilized momentarily, while the causality specialists' clock face patterns froze in position. Now, Kira shouted, the disruption field will only last seconds. Goku needed no further prompting. Gathering his power, he completed the transformation to Super Saiyan 5, silver-white fur materializing across his upper body. Hair lengthening and crystallizing into flowing silver strands, eyes shifting to their azure gold pattern. The transformation's completion created a shockwave that shattered the temporal density field entirely, freeing everyone from its constraints. Gohan, stay with Piccolo, Goku instructed, his voice carrying harmonics similar to Lumina's. Vegeta, take the liquid one. Kira and Solaria, the third. I'm going for the causality specialist. Before anyone could acknowledge the plan, Goku vanished, not using instant transmission, but through a new ability his Super Saiyan 5 form had developed during training. He stepped sideways through dimensional space, reappearing directly in front of the clock-faced architect. "You killed my wife," he stated simply, the words carrying power beyond their meaning. The architect showed no emotion, its form incapable of such expression, but its response carried something resembling satisfaction. Causality modification achieved desired outcome parameters. Your evolutionary acceleration succeeded beyond projected models. The casual confirmation of its crime fueled Goku's rage, but with it came unexpected clarity. This being didn't operate on human morality or emotion. It had engineered Chi-Chi's death as dispassionately as a scientist might arrange experimental conditions. Why? Goku demanded as silver energy gathered around his fists. Why force evolution across multiple dimensions? What are you preparing for? Necessity, the architect replied. The multiversal entropy cascade approaches. Conventional evolutionary. Timelines insufficient for survival preparation. Acceleration mandatory. Before Goku could process this cryptic explanation, the architect attacked, not with physical force but by manipulating causality itself. Suddenly Goku experienced multiple simultaneous realities, one where he had dodged left, another where he had attacked directly, a third where he had retreated. Each possibility manifested partially, fragmenting his consciousness across potential outcomes. Only his Super Saiyan 5 form's inherent multidimensional awareness prevented complete disorientation. Focusing on what Elder Kai had taught him about resonance, Goku aligned himself with the most advantageous possibility, consolidating fragmented awareness back into unified action. He struck with precision that transcended physical combat, targeting not the architect's form but the causal patterns that maintained its coherence. Silver energy extended from his fist-like crystalline blades that severed temporal threads binding the entity to local reality. The architect's form distorted under this unprecedented assault. Clock face patterns spun chaotically as it attempted to re-establish stable causality. "Impossible," it stated, voice fluctuating across multiple frequencies. "Silver ascendant evolution incomplete. Multidimensional combat capabilities undeveloped." "I'm a quick study," Goku replied, pressing his advantage W. Another dimensional strike that further destabilized the entity. Across the battlefield, his allies engaged the other architects with varying degrees of success. Vegeta fought the liquid silver entity with characteristic ferocity. His Super Saiyan power impressive but clearly insufficient against an opponent that could flow around conventional attacks like Mercury. Each punch passed through the architect's malleable form, which then reconstituted to counter-strike from unexpected angles. "Stand still and fight properly," Vegeta demanded in frustration, his golden aura flaring brighter as he poured more power into his attacks. Conventional combat paradigms inapplicable, the architect responded emotionlessly, its liquid form rippling around Vegeta's defenses to deliver a blow that sent the prince crashing into a half-materialized mountain face. Kira and Celeria fared marginally better against the third architect, a being whose form resembled crystallized energy in vaguely humanoid shape. Kira's temporal weapons provided periodic advantages, temporarily locking the entity into singular phase states that Celeria could then target with precisely calculated strikes. Its resonance a turn fluctuates on a 7-second cycle, Celeria called out, her warrior instincts identifying the weakness through careful observation. Strike during peak solidity. Together they established an effective rhythm, Kira's technology creating openings that Celeria's combat expertise exploited. Yet even this coordinated assault merely slowed the architect rather than significantly damaging it. Meanwhile, Azura worked frantically with her equipment near the convergence device itself, attempting to disrupt the process while combat raged around her. Maeve and Serafina provided protection, the Arceres's symbols creating defensive barriers while the celestial observer's constellation patterns generated interference fields against dimensional attacks. The convergence matrix resists conventional disruption methods, Azura reported. Frustration evident in her normally clinical tone. Its programming adapts faster than my countermeasures. Piccolo, keeping Gohan protected while simultaneous. Lee providing ranged support where needed, noticed something significant. The device draws power from the temple ruins, he observed. See how energy flows from the ancient stones into the crystal structure. This insight proved crucial. Lumina immediately redirected her efforts toward the temple fragments that floated throughout the area. The ancient Saiyan outpost contains connection nodes to cosmic confluence energy, she confirmed. Severing these connections may destabilize the convergence process. As this new strategy developed, Goku continued his assault on the causality architect. CH exchange taught him more about his opponent's capabilities while simultaneously expanding his understanding of his own transformation. Super Saiyan 5 wasn't merely increased power, it was fundamentally different perception, allowing him to interact with reality on levels previously inaccessible. The architect, recognizing conventional methods were failing, suddenly shifted tactics. Instead of manipulating present causality, it reached further back in time, targeting not Goku himself but connections to his past. Goku experienced a sudden, disorienting surge of altered memories, Chi-Chi fading from his recollection, replaced by different relationship histories. Gohan appearing and disappearing from his mind as parental connections fluctuated across possibilities. His own identity becoming fluid as causal foundations shifted beneath his consciousness. Your existence is mutable, the architect stated, pressing its temporal advantage. All connections temporary, all foundations changeable. For a critical moment, Goku faltered, his sense of self fragmenting under this fundamental assault. Then, from within the confusion, clarity emerged from an unexpected source. A familiar presence too, his consciousness, impossible yet undeniably real. Goku, remember who you are. Remember us. Chi-Chi, he whispered, the name itself an anchor in reality's shifting seas. Some connections transcend causality, some bonds cannot be rewritten. The voice, her voice, came not from memory but from something deeper. Through Super Saiyan 5's expanded perception, Goku realized a profound truth: consciousness existed beyond physical reality. Beyond causal chains, some connections, once formed, became immutable cosmic constants. This realization provided immunity against the architect's most powerful weapon. With renewed focus, Goku counterattacked, not just with physical force but with conscious intent that transcended dimensional manipulation. You can't erase what we were, he stated, each word carrying power beyond conventional energy. What we are, what we'll always be. Silver light coalesced around him, forming patterns that mirrored ancient symbols orbiting Maeve. These configurations created a feedback loop in the architect's causality manipulation, forcing it to experience its own temporal alterations, a paradox that disrupted its fundamental functions. The entity's form began to unravel as causality contradictions compounded exponentially. Unexpected resistance pattern, it acknowledged, clock face components spinning erratically. Silver ascendant evolution exceeds parameter projections. Across the battlefield, Vegeta witnessed Goku's success with complicated emotions. Determination, frustration, and pride warred within him as he continued struggling against his own opponent. Despite his best efforts and extraordinary power, the liquid silver architect maintained clear advantage, flowing around his attacks while countering with precision strikes that exploited every weakness. Is this the extent of Saiyan evolution? The entity questioned dispassionately as Vegeta crashed to the ground after another failed assault. Logical conclusion. Super Saiyan represents evolutionary dead end for secondary genetic lines. The dismissal struck deeper than physical attacks. Secondary genetic lines. The implication that Vegeta, Prince of all Saiyans, elite warrior of the proudest bloodline, represented an evolutionary failure compared to Kakarot's potential. Something broke within Vegeta, not his spirit, but a self-imposed limitation he'd never acknowledged. Pride had always driven him to compete directly with Kakarot, to pursue identical paths to power. But what if his evolution required different direction? What if the Prince of Saiyans had his own unique evolutionary destiny? I am Vegeta, he growled, rising slowly as golden energy fluctuated around him. Prince of all Saiyans, my bloodline traces back to the first kings who unified our race. The architect showed no reaction to this declaration, preparing another assault with methodical precision. My evolution, Vegeta continued, something changing in his energy signature, will not mirror Kakarot's. It never could. His golden aura began shifting, not toward silver like Goku's transformation, but toward deep royal purple at its edges. His Super Saiyan hair remained golden but developed purple IGH lights that caught light with crystalline properties. Fascinating, observed Serafina from across the battlefield, her ancient eyes recognizing what was happening. The divergent evolutionary path. The royal ascension. The liquid silver architect paused its attack, sensors recalibrating to analyze this unexpected development. Alternate evolutionary pathway detected. Classification. Unknown. Vegeta's transformation continued, subtle but profound. Unlike Goku's dramatic physical changes, Vegeta's alterations manifested primarily in his energy signature. The purple-edged aura condensed around him, forming armor-like patterns that resembled ancient Saiyan royal regalia rendered in energy rather than material. Super Saiyan Royal, Maeve named it, her shifting features settling momentary. Lee into an expression of academic interest. The complementary evolution. Where Silver Ascendant transcends dimensions, Royal Ascendant masters them. With newfound determination, Vegeta launched himself at the architect. This time, his attacks carried properties that counteracted the entity's fluid adaptability. Each strike left traces of purple energy that solidified portions of the liquid silver form, gradually restricting its movements. Subspace compression effect detected, the architect noted with what might have been concern in a more emotional being. Mobility functions compromised. Vegeta's lips curved into his characteristic smirk. Not so adaptable now, are you? While these individual battles raged, Azura made critical progress against the convergence device. Working with Lumina, Maeve, and Serafina, she identified the ancient temple fragments providing primary power to the crystalline lotus. The convergence draws on cosmic confluence energy stored within these ruins for millennia. Lumina explained as they worked. Interrupting this connection will destabilize the entire process. Gohan, who had been observing carefully despite Piccolo's protective efforts, contributed unexpected insight. The energy flows through specific geometric patterns, he noted, pointing to barely visible inscriptions on floating temple fragments. If we alter those patterns, we could redirect the energy flow. Azora's eyes widened at the young half-Saiyan's observation. Brilliant hypothesis. The inscription geometries create quantum resonance pathways that, she caught herself, simplifying. Yes, changing the patterns could work. Piccolo placed a supportive hand on Gohan's shoulder. Chi-Chi would be proud of that analysis, he stated quietly, drawing a small smile from the boy. Together they began systematically altering inscription patterns on key temple fragments, creating disruptions in the energy flow feeding the convergence device. The crystal lotus responded with NC raising instability, pulsations becoming erratic, dimensional windows flickering. It's working, Azura confirmed as her instruments registered changing energy patterns. Convergence stability dropping below sustainable threshold. The architects immediately recognized this existential threat to their plan. All three redirected partial attention toward the temple fragments, launching attacks designed to restore proper energy flow. Multiversal entropy cascade preparations must continue, the causality specialist declared as it struggled against Goku's assault while simultaneously targeting the temple disruption. Evolutionary acceleration necessary for civilization survival. This division of attention provided Goku the opening he needed. Gathering silver energy into concentrated form, he struck with precision that transcended physical combat, targeting the fundamental pattern maintaining the architect's coherence in local reality. The clock-faced entity's form unraveled upon impact, components separating into constituent elements that could no longer maintain unified consciousness. The effect spread rapidly, a chain reaction of causality disruption that banished the entity from current dimensional space. Simultaneously, Vegeta's newfound abilities proved equally effective against the liquid silver architect. His purple-edged energy had progressively solidified the entity's form, restricting its adaptive capabilities until it could no longer flow around conventional attacks. With a final devastating combination, Vegeta drove the paralyzed architect into the ground with a new force to shatter its crystallized form into fragments that dissolved from reality. Kira and Celeria, working in perfect tandem, achieved similar success against the third architect. Kira's temporal weapons created a phase-lock field that Celeria exploited with precisely calculated strikes targeting structural weaknesses. Under this coordinated assault, the crystalline entity fractured along LT lines invisible to conventional perception, its energy dispersing across dimensions. With all three architects neutralized, attention focused fully on the convergence device, now visibly destabilizing. Ing's temple energy flows became increasingly chaotic. The dimensional windows surrounding the crystal lotus flickered erratically, showing glimpses of confused evolutionary processes occurring across multiple universes. "We've disrupted the controlled convergence," Azura reported urgently, "but the process has already begun. Without proper deactivation sequences, the energies could collapse chaotically. Dimensional cascade failure imminent," Lumina confirmed, her ethereal form registering distress. Multiple universe branches threatened. Goku surveyed the situation with silver ascendant perception, seeing interconnections invisible to normal consciousness. "We need to contain the collapse," he decided. "Create a controlled implosion that redirects energy back through the temple fragments." "Impossible without precise multidimensional coordination," Maeve objected. "Even with your evolution, such control exceeds individual capability." "Then we work together," Goku replied simply. He looked to Vegeta, whose Super Saiyan royal form provided complementary abilities to his own. "Your transformation controls dimensional space. Mine transcends it. Together." Vegeta understood immediately. Despite their rivalry, their transformations represented evolutionary balance, two sides of the same cosmic potential. "For once, Kakarot, your plan makes sense." They positioned themselves on opposite sides of the destabilizing convergence device. Goku's silver energy reached outward across dimensional boundaries, while Vegeta's purple-edged power created stabilization points within local space-time. "Everyone else," Goku instructed, "channel your energy through us. Create a unified field." One by one, the others contributed their unique energies and abilities: Kira's temporal technology, Solaria's Saiyan power, Piccolo and Gohan's harmonized ki, Azora's scientific focus, Maeve's interdimensional knowledge, Serafina's cosmic awareness, and Lumina's confluence connection. Each added. Ion strengthened the containment field forming around the crystal lotus. As the convergence device reached critical instability, Goku and Vegeta initiated synchronized movements, Kata-like forms that directed energy with precision beyond physical combat. Where Goku's silver patterns extended beyond conventional dimensions, Vegeta's purple structures compressed and contained, creating perfect balance between expansion and control. The crystal lotus began to collapse inward, its dimensional connections retracting from connected universes. Energy that had been forcing evolutionary leaps across multiple dimensions flowed back through the containment field, channeled into the ancient temple fragments where it could safely dissipate. "It's working," Azura confirmed, her instruments registering decreasing dimensional instability. Convergence collapse proceeding within manageable parameters. As the process continued, reality around them gradually stabilized. Mountains stopped phasing between potential configurations. Temple fragments settled into fixed positions, no longer floating chaotically. The temporal distortions that had characterized the battlefield diminished until normal physics reasserted dominance. Finally, with a sound like crystal bells resonating across vast distances, the convergence device completed its collapse. The containment field directed final energy surges into temple fragments, which absorbed them like cosmic sponges. Dimensional windows sealed themselves, severing connections to other universes. Silence fell across the battlefield as everyone processed what they had accomplished. Goku and Vegeta released their transformations simultaneously, returning to base form as exhaustion claimed them. Others similarly powered down, conserving energy now that immediate danger had passed. "It's over," Gohan stated with cautious relief, moving to his father's side. "We stopped it." "Not completely," Serafina corrected gently, constellation patterns flowing across her skin. The forced evolutionary processes had already begun in several dimensions. Those beings will continue developing accelerated transformations, though without the chaotic effects of uncontrolled convergence. "And the architects?" Solaria questioned, scanning the area where the three entities had been defeated. "Banished temporarily," Maeve answered, her shifting features reflecting uncertainty. "Cosmic entities of their nature cannot be permanently destroyed, merely displaced from current dimensional space." Goku looked toward the spot where the causality specialist, Chi-Chi's killer, had unraveled. "Will they return?" "Eventually," Lumina confirmed solemnly. "Though without the convergence device, their immediate plans are thwarted." This partial victory felt hollow to Goku. Justice for Chi-Chi remained incomplete if her killer would eventually return. Yet he recognized the greater victory, preventing multiversal catastrophe and protecting countless lives across dimensions. What was this multiversal entropy cascade they mentioned? He asked, remembering the architect's cryptic explanation. The threat they claimed to be preparing for. Serafina and Maeve exchanged significant glances, a remarkable feat considering Maeve's constantly shifting features. A theoretical cosmic event, Serafina finally answered. A progressive breakdown of fundamental forces that maintain separation between dimensional branches. If such an event were to occur, reality as understood by any being would cease to function properly. Some believe it inevitable, Maeve added. Others consider it merely one possible future among many. The architects clearly subscribed to the former perspective, justifying their methods through necessity. So they killed Chi-Chi and triggered my transformation because they genuinely believed they were saving existence itself. Goku struggled with this morally complex possibility. Their methods remain unconscionable, Kira stated firmly. Sacrificing individuals without consent for theoretical greater good violates fundamental ethical principles across all civilized dimensions. Agreed, Azura added with surprising emotion in her normally clinical voice. Scientific advancement cannot justify disregard for individual autonomy. My research has always maintained this principle. As they discussed these philosophical questions, the temple ruins began reassembling themselves, fragments moving into original configurations as though time were reversing. Within minutes, the ancient Saiyan outpost had reconstructed itself completely, looking as it had before the convergence device's activation. The ruins are realigning with their primary temporal state, Lumina explained, observing the phenomenon with evident interest. Cosmic confluence energy seeks equilibrium. Goku approached the temple entrance, drawn by something he couldn't quite articulate. There's something inside, he stated with certainty. Something we need to see. Others followed as he entered the reconstructed temple. Inside, the central chamber appeared exactly as it had during his first transformation, circular design with domed ceiling pierced by precisely positioned apertures. But now the platform at the center displayed new inscriptions, glowing with soft blue light. These weren't here before, Celeria observed, studying the markings with evident surprise. They're in ancient Saiyan script, but I don't recognize some of these symbols. Serafina moved forward, constellation patterns shifting rapidly across her skin. They're not just Saiyan, she clarified. These incorporate symbols from civilizations that existed before Saiyans evolved. Cosmic constants rendered in physical form. What do they say? Gohan asked, his natural curiosity overcoming exhaustion. Maeve's orbiting symbols aligned briefly with patterns on the platform. It's a prophecy, she translated, but not the original Silver Ascendant prediction. This appears after evolutionary divergence occurs. As she spoke, the inscriptions rearranged themselves, forming new configurations that pulsed with increasing light. Words became visible, floating above the platform in language everyone could somehow understand regardless of their origin. When silver and royal arise before their time. When dimensional barriers grow thin and frail. The first defense forms against entropy's advance. 7 guardians gathered from across possibility. United by threads invisible yet unbreakable. Standing watch at creation's edge. The words hung in the air for several moments before dissolving into particles of light that scattered throughout the chamber. Silence fell as everyone contemplated their meaning. The first defense, Vegeta finally muttered. Dramatic but vague, like all prophecies. Not vague to those who study cosmic cycles, Lumina countered softly. The first defense refers to guardians who stand against multiversal threats, the initial response before higher cosmic authorities intervene. Kira's expression grew thoughtful. 7 guardians. There are 7 of us who contributed unique energies to contain the convergence device. 8. Gohan corrected, including himself in the count. 7 distinct energy signatures, Azura clarified, checking readings from her instruments. You and Piccolo register as harmonized rather than distinct contributions. Goku looked around at the diverse group gathered in the ancient temple, representatives from different races, dimensions, and cosmic functions, united by circumstances that should have been impossible. You think we're these guardians? That stopping the convergence was just the beginning. Prophecy rarely provides comprehensive instruction manuals, Maeve observed with what might have been dry humor. It merely indicates possibility. Quote, but the multiversal entropy cascade, Solaria pressed. If that's real, if it's coming, shouldn't we be preparing? Serafina's ancient eyes regarded each person present with serene assessment. You already have begun preparation. The silver and royal transformations represent evolutionary adaptations specifically capable of functioning across dimensional boundaries. The connections formed between diverse beings from different origins create resilience against entropy's homogenizing effects. So what happens now? Gohan asked the question on everyone's mind. Goku placed a hand on his son's shoulder, drawing strength from the contact. First, we go home. We rest. We remember why we fought today. His thoughts turned briefly to Chi-Chi, her memory ored through their victory even if her killer would eventually return. Then we prepare for whatever comes next. The androids arrive in less than 6 months, Piccolo reminded everyone. Our Origina, L threat hasn't disappeared just because cosmic ones emerged. Vegeta snorted derisively. After what we've faced today, those mechanical toys hardly seem worth concerning ourselves with. Every threat matters to those who can't protect themselves, Goku corrected gently. Our new abilities come with greater responsibility, not less. As they prepared to depart the temple, Goku felt a momentary connection. That same impossible yet undeniable presence he'd sensed during battle. I'm proud of you, Chi-Chi's voice whispered from somewhere beyond conventional reality. Take care of our son. And yourself. I will, he promised silently, wondering if she could hear him. I miss you. No response came, but he felt a brief sensation like a loving touch against his consciousness before the connection faded completely. Outside, the world had returned to apparent normality. Mountains stood firm in their proper places. The sky held its natural blue without dimensional distortion. Birds had even returned to the area, their songs creating soundtrack for what felt like a new beginning. What will you do now? Goku asked the diverse allies gathered around him. Return to your dimensions, your duties. Ira adjusted her weapon's harness with military precision. The Coraxian sovereignty will want full briefing on these events. However, if the prophecy holds merit, my presence may be required here more permanently. Her eyes met Goku's with professional assessment that didn't quite hide personal interest. With your permission, I could establish monitoring outpost nearby. My research requires continued observation of evolutionary adaptations, Azura added, blue fingers manipulating holographic controls. Particularly regarding stabilization patterns in both transformations. A research facility at Capsule Corporation would be ideal. Pending drive. Brief's approval. Solaria straightened proudly. My duty remains unchanged. Documenting Saiyan evolutionary milestones and preserving our cultural heritage. This now includes both silver and royal paths. Her expression softened slightly when looking at Goku. Besides, there are combat techniques you've barely begun to master. Lumina, Maeve, N.D. Serafina exchanged glances communicating complex understanding. Cosmic confluence monitoring requires continued presence, Lumina stated simply. Walking between dimensions grows difficult during entropy fluctuations, Maeve added. Maintaining fixed reference point here provides stability. I have watched this planet since its formation, Serafina concluded. Recent events only confirm its significance deserves continued observation. Goku absorbed these responses with growing realization. They were all staying, each for ostensibly professional reasons that barely concealed deeper motivations. The prophecy provided convenient justification, but he sensed personal connections forming that transcended cosmic duty. Gohan, perceptive beyond his years, looked up at his father with knowing expression. Looks like our family just got a lot bigger, Dad. Vegeta, standing slightly apart as was his habit, made a sound somewhere between amusement and exasperation. Wonderful. Kakarot once gained surrounded by admirers while simultaneously saving multiple universes. Some things never change regardless of dimensional interference. Despite his sarcastic tone, something had shifted between the Saiyan rivals. Their complementary transformations, silver and royal, created balance impossible to achieve individually. Competition remained, but now served greater purpose than mere personal pride. We should return to Capsule Corp, Piccolo suggested practically. Bulma will be concerned, and we could all use rest after today's events. As they prepared for departure using Maeve's dimensional corridor, Goku cast one final glance at the reconstructed temple, this ancient outpost that had become nexus point for his transformation and everything that followed. He couldn't help wondering what other secrets it might still hold. What other prophecies might yet unfold. The journey home passed in contemplative silence, each person processing the day's events and their implications. When they emerged at Capsule Corporation, twilight had fallen over West City, buildings silhouetted against purple-orange sky that reminded Goku of Vegeta's new transformation. Bulma rushed forward as they appeared, relief evident on her face. Thank goodness. The readings were off the charts, then everything just normalized. I couldn't tell if that meant success or catastrophe. Success, Goku confirmed with tired smile. Though, normalized, might be stretching things a bit. As the group moved inside to rest and recuperate, Goku found himself on a balcony overlooking the city. Stars had begun ring overhead, points of light that now held new meaning through his enhanced perception. Somewhere among them, across dimensional boundaries, other beings continued evolutionary journeys accelerated by today's events. Future allies, potential threats, both seemed equally possible. He sensed Gohan's approach before hearing footsteps. His son joined him at the railing, gazing upward with similar contemplation. Dad, Gohan began hesitantly, do you think Mom somehow knew this would happen? She always said you were meant for something important. Goku considered the question carefully. I don't think she could have known specifically. But Chi-Chi always saw more in people than they saw in themselves. He smiled at memories both painful and precious. Maybe that's its own kind of cosmic awareness. They stood in comfortable silence until Gohan spoke again. I talked with everyone while you were out here. They're all staying nearby, at least for now. I figured they might. Bulma's Alred. Why designing living quarters and research facilities? A hint of amusement colored Gohan's voice. She seems excited about having advanced dimensional technology to study. Goku chuckled softly. That sounds like Bulma. Another moment of silence passed before Gohan addressed what remained unspoken between them. It's okay, you know. Whatever happens with any of them, Mom would want you to be happy. The simple statement, delivered with a child's directness yet remarkable maturity, touched Goku deeply. He placed an arm around his son's shoulders, drawing him close. Right now, what makes me happy is that we're both okay. That Earth is safe, that we have time to figure out whatever comes next. He looked down at Gohan with profound gratitude for this remarkable child who balanced both parents' best qualities. The rest will sort itself out. Inside Capsule Corporation, the diverse group of allies, perhaps the prophesied first defense, began establishing connections that would shape coming challenges. Kira discussed defense strategies with Piccolo. Azura and Bulma exchanged scientific theories with animated enthusiasm. Celeria showed Vegeta ancient Saiyan combat scrolls she'd preserved. Lumina, Maeve, and Serafina conversed in harmonics beyond normal hearing, occasionally glancing toward the balcony where father and son stood. Tomorrow would bring new questions, new challenges, new directions. The androids still approached. Nameless cosmic threats gathered on distant horizons. Equilibrium and the architects would eventually return to continue their multiversal conflict. But tonight, under stars that seemed both familiar and newly significant, Goku found unexpected peace. His transformation had irrevocably changed everything, creating ripples that extended across dimensions, yet his core remained unchanged. Protector, father, friend, now perhaps something more, as connections formed with beings drawn across dimensional boundaries to his evolutionary beacon. The Silver Ascendant's journey had only begun. The royal counterpart provided necessary balance. Together with unlikely allies gathered from across possibility, they would face whatever came next, not just for Earth, but for reality itself. For now, that was enough. ___. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.